What's up, everybody? My name is James Michelle, and I'm back at you with another video. And of course, I'm joined by my friends here from the Hypes Watch, and we are discussing movies from my personal favorite decade of film, the 1990s. And I think something that makes this decade particularly special is the fact that there was less reliance on franchises, and I think there was a lot more original films in this particular decade. And we're going to talk about it. So going down the line, we'll have the ladies introduce themselves first. Go ahead, Anne.
Hey guys, I'm really happy to be here. I have a lot more to say about the 90s than I did about the 80s, although I already had a lot of things to say. And I'm gonna open by cheating and saying that, to me, 3 movies just sum up the zeitgeist of what the 90s were for me, which was when I was a teenager in the 90s. And those would be Clerks, Clueless, and Reality Bites.
I'll agree on Clueless being it.
There we go. That's a good introduction. Then, of course, first time making her appearance on the decade lists is Tinker Jaso.
Hello, everyone. I'm looking forward to doing this video, although I have to admit that I suck at making lists, like which is my favorite. I'm like, I don't know, depends on my mood in the moment. So my top 10 list is just my top 10 that I chose, although it was fluid, it was hard to decide, and they're not actually on a list. They're like in sort of random, like the first one and maybe last. I have no order, so be forewarned.
It's all good. It's all good. We'll make do. Then, of course, we have Sir L.T. Giles. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Sir L.T. Giles.
What's up, everybody? Sir L.T. Giles here, and just excited to once again be on James' channel and do these lists. They're really fun.
Right on. Jerry?
Jerry the Targaryen Steamboat here, and smells like top 10 90s list.
There you go. Except remember that Payne ruined that song, but that's a list for another day.
Shut the fuck up, James.
Anyway,
I need
Don
memories
Willie.
of that fucking bullshit here.
Don Willie, go ahead.
Fuck you, Jackman.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Don Willie. Glad to be here with James and the rest of the crew. Talk about the 90s movies, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to piss some of you people off, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm sure that there will be some moments like that for everybody.
But yeah, we're going to start from James mentioning that shit.
Well, it happened. It happened. All right, so we're going to start at number 10, obviously, and we're going to start with the ladies. We're going to start with Tinker first. So, Tinker, what is your number 10?
I know that some of you have already heard that it's probably in your list of dishonorable mentions, but I love this movie, and it's going to be Pulp Fiction. I love it. I really do. I understand there's people who love Tarantino, people who hate Tarantino. But whether I don't love all of Tarantino's movies, there's some movies that I really, really do love. And the scene in the diner, then the scene in the back of the car when he accidentally blows the head of that guy, and the entire conversation, it's just so ridiculous. Just I loved it. I loved it. I watched once and
I'm confused. I don't know anyone who hates it.
Yeah.
I know some people that just outright hate every Tarantino movie.
I mean,
I
his
think
latest
those
movies
people are not worth talking to.
Yeah, his latest
Yeah,
movies are a little repetitive, and they're definitely not as good. I mean, not all as good, but yeah.
Yeah, I expect that movie to be actually pretty high on all of our lists. So I wouldn't feel discouraged about that, Tinker. I don't think it's going to be on any of our dishonorables. But maybe. I don't know. We'll see. All right. So, Anne, what is your number 10?
Okay, I want to start with a really indie movie, really indie, that I don't think, I can assume none of you saw. Let me know in the chat if one of you has seen it. It is not a feel-good movie. It is, I believe, the most depressing movie I've ever seen in my life. And it's called Sue. It's a 1997 movie by Amos Kolek. It's basically a story of Sue, Anna Thompson, who is, she's unemployed, she's single, she's sort of looking for a job, looking for a man, and she just like slowly drifts into not insanity, but something else. It's, you know, like, to me it's weird because I don't like oh god, okay, now my brain is starting to not function. Someone I said did not like, that was in my overrated 70s movies. Gina Rowland. Well, okay, I can't remember the name of the director. John Cassavetes, when he portrays Gina Rowlands. I don't always love that kind of character, but there I just love the way Anna Thompson does it. And it's a movie that really, really moved me. And again, that I would recommend anyone to watch, but if you're in the mood for a depressing movie that day.
How do you spell that, Anne?
Sue, S-U-E. S, yeah.
As in, okay.
Like, it's the first name. It's, yeah.
Is it as big of a downer as like Boys Don't Cry?
I think in my mind it's more, but you know, I don't know. It's just like Boys Don't Cry. It's a really sad movie, but I don't know. Like, it's like, how much can you see yourself in the character? You know, it's pretty specific, right? I'm not. I think I remember what Boys Don't Cry is. I mean, like, it's just, I mean, this one really struck a chord with me. And I think it is more of a downer. Maybe because it's less, it's something that could really happen to anyone.
All right, well, I wrote it down because I want to make sure that we track everyone. That's why I want to know how to spell it. And for clarification for the audience in case they want to watch it. Because I haven't seen that movie, so yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Sir L.T. Giles, you're number 10.
My number 10 has it all in the title, Lionheart, with Jean-Claude Van Damme. This movie is about a guy that, you know, comes to America to try and save his brother, ends up fighting fighting to save his family. And it's just, to me, people have called it cheesy, but I think it's a great movie and an awesome time, action. And if you've never seen it, I strongly recommend it.
Only LT, this is why we love you.
Well, this is like I said, this is the benefit of having different personalities, and we can gauge how different we are in terms of our movie collection. And that takes us to Jerry, number 10.
Number 10. Shop Smart, Shop S-Smart. That is Army of Darkness, comes in at number 10. This is one of my favorite franchises of all time. It's like, it started out as a horror thing with Evil Dead, and it like morphed itself into a slapstick comedy with great one-liners. You know, it's about, you know, if anyone doesn't know, it's about Ash getting transported back into King Arthur times to fight the Deadites, and he is such a buffoon. He is like, but he's still like a lovable hero. It's the only, in fact, as far as I know, it's the only horror franchise that has an actual hero as their main thing. Usually, horror franchises have a villain as their main recurring one. This one actually has a hero. Even though he's a buffoon, he's always saying great one-liners. He's saying, doing all kinds of crazy things. Like, he could have stopped it all if he would have just remembered the words, but instead he's like, Klaatu, Verata, and fucks up and brings all of death upon him. And yeah, it's just a great movie of one-liners, comedy, just fun. It's fun. I don't know anyone else.
I actually saw that in the drive-in when it came out, and it made up for fucking Jason Goes to Hell, because Jason Goes to Hell was garbage.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I mean, you might have seen this movie, think you're gonna see some real horror, because like that's also the skeletons were so cool coming at him. It's like stop motion Jason and the Argonaut style coming at you, and it was just fun. pretty much fun. He punches King Arthur in the face. It's just great.
Right on. Which takes us to Don Willie's number 10.
Hail to the king, baby.
God damn it, Jerry. Anyway, yeah, so my number 10 for the 90s decade is Saving Private Ryan. Probably one of the best World War II epics out there. Great performance by Tom Hanks. You know, we got slight introduction to Vin Diesel, even though he got taken out very quickly. Matt Damon, I thought, played a very good role in there. And the interesting thing that I thought about that was, like, Matt Damon wasn't really played up in the promotion of the movie that much. So to a certain extent, it was almost a surprise for me when he showed up on screen. But, you know, as far as World War II epics go, yeah, I think that's one of the better ones. And, you know, I don't know if it's on anybody else's list, but, you know, that's where it is on mine.
I don't think that'll be the first time that movie is mentioned. FYI, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, which leads me to my number 10. And of course, my three personal favorite filmmakers of all time is Martin Scorsese. Number 2 is Quentin Tarantino. And number 3 is the Coen brothers. So my number 10 movie, and trust me, that will be represented on this list pretty heavily, but my number 10 movie is what I personally believe to be Quentin Tarantino's most underrated movie. One that when is talked about when people want to list their favorite Quentin Tarantino movies, it's one that doesn't really get mentioned that often, and that is Jackie Brown. I love Jackie Brown. It not only did I watch it, I don't know, 10, 15 times, it helped, or it cultivated my taste in music. I love 1970s soul as a result of Jackie Brown. I listened to a lot of Curtis Mayfield, Brothers Johnson, Delphonics as a result of this movie. So not only does it have that aspect of where I actually like the film, which because it's a great film, great performances by Robert Forster, and in particular, and of course, Samuel L. Jackson playing Ordell Robbie, which he's a very charismatic yet cunning and intimidating villain. And I just think it's a great movie. One that, despite being about 2 hours and 40 minutes, I think it goes by pretty quickly. So for me, Jackie Brown's number 10. All right, so that takes us to number 9, and Anne is going to kick us off with number 9.
Okay, number 9. I'm sorry. Still a slightly indie movie, but I mean, much, much, much bigger than the previous one was. I mean, I think you guys, some of you might have seen it. It's the 1993 movie by Jane Campion, The Piano. First off, I think please make signs. Yes, Jerry, you've seen it? So the music is amazing. I'm also going to try to not get us suspended for music.
I love that movie.
Yeah, and okay. I think it's definitely my favorite. I think it's Jane Campion's only really good movie. Like, to me, the other ones went over the top with what she was trying to do. Like not Scent of a Woman, Portrait of a Lady, horrible adaptation from a wonderful book. But anyway, that movie managed to make Harvey Keitel like super, super sexy. And Harvey Keitel is one of the most disgusting looking actor. Like he's really not sexy. In that movie, he's like, oh, so sexy. So kudos for that.
I myself haven't seen it, but perhaps I will. Sir L.T. Giles, you're number 9.
My number 9 is Major Payne. It was a comedy in the 90s that was so funny. I've watched it thousands of times, and it just makes me laugh over and over again. And I haven't seen it in a while, but I might watch it, you know.
Oh, Major Payne. I've watched that a lot as a kid, too. Jerry, number 9.
Number 9 is The Matrix. This is one of the most influential movies that come out of the 90s. Not the most, but I mean, how many people copied the fucking bullet time effect after this movie? This was just a great, like, I don't know. I don't know how to say this. It's just, it was a great story, great analogy story. It actually made Keanu Reeves look like a competent actor. It looked, Lawrence Fishburne was just ominous, and you know, with the red pill and the blue pill, it was just a great, you know, like the movie said, follow the white rabbit kind of movie. But yeah,
making Keanu Reeves look like a good actor is pretty much as tough to do as making Harvey Keitel look sexy. So I agree.
Yes. And so, Matrix #9.
And having Joey Pantoliano be like the sleazy guy that betrayed the team, like that's not, like you didn't see that one coming with Joey Pantoliano.
What are you talking about? You mean the guy from Risky Business that you thought he was not gonna?
He's talking about Ralphie from The Sopranos, Jerry.
The Sopranos came out later, but yeah.
That's always. I mean, I'm just saying that Joey Pantoliano was always
at the same
talking
time,
about
really. I
that
think.
guy.
But yeah, it was a good movie. The sequel should not have happened, but as far as standalone, this was a great one.
All right, that takes us to Don Willie, #9.
So my #9 is probably going to be higher on a lot of people's list. Very great action movie, a sequel that, you know, if you think about the way the timeline ran, it probably shouldn't have happened, and definitely shouldn't have gotten 3 more sequels afterward. But it was an amazing feat in filmmaking and also pushing forth CGI technology, and that is James Cameron's Terminator 2 Judgment Day. You know, logically, it doesn't make sense that it actually happened, but fuck it, it was a great movie anyway.
Couldn't have said it better. Logically, it does not make sense. Story-wise, it does not make sense, but fuck, it was a great action movie.
I already not to go.
It was a movie of great special effects, moments, and action.
Unfortunately, Terminator Genesis, or whatever it's called, has retconned that movie completely. So there you go.
Yeah, is that the horrible 4th installment with Christian Bale?
No,
that's the one with the Daenerys.
Yeah, this one with the Daenerys in it. That essentially it retconned everything, and now the Great Terminator and Terminator 2 means nothing anymore in the Terminator universe.
The last movie doesn't exist, not for me at least.
Well, the last 3 movies shouldn't exist.
The last any movies beyond Terminator really shouldn't exist.
But T2 was good. It's not my
T2, it was good, but it wasn't good story-wise. Like it kind of like
it's the ring that went to hell.
Yeah, like T1 was it had its own closed loop, and T2 forcibly opened that loop with nonsense. Great nonsense, but still nonsense.
And T2 drum up a little conversation, but here we go with my #9, and it essentially this movie embodies my early 20s. I may have, partook in a certain herb in the 20s quite a bit, and this was the movie I would watch with my roommates when I partook in said herb, and that is, of course, the movie. It's about the trials and tribulations of Donnie Walter Sobchak and the dude, the Big Lebowski, the cult classic. I watched this movie 50 times, maybe 60 times. Is a little nonsensical, maybe, but I think John Goodman's performance as Walter Sobchak is really underrated. I think he really, kind of like The Rug, he tied the movie together just with his funny performance and his outlandish ways. And, The Big Lebowski, one of my favorites.
The Big Lebowski was an awesome movie, I mean, listen, just the whole character of the dude, him being the ultimate slacker and getting caught up in, some of the craziest bullshit of all time. And yeah, man, I mean, I love that movie. James, that was a great pick.
The dude abides.
You guys are gonna hate me, but it's in my dishonorable mentions.
Well, it's not gonna.
Look. Here's the thing about the Big Lebowski. You cannot only see this movie once. If you see this movie once, you're probably not gonna like it. This is a movie that you need to watch multiple times to get.
And I can understand if you didn't like it. Like it's. I don't think it's for everybody. But that being said, Tink, we're at your number 9.
Okay, my number 9 is Silence of the Lambs. A movie which I really like. The performances are great, but it's the movie that captivated me. I remember I've even read the script, and I wrote a paper on the script when I was in college, and it completely captivated me. I really like this. I really like this story, even if it's creepy as hell in times.
I'm shocked that a creepy movie like this would make your list, but I'm impressed as well.
It's just, I love I enjoyed the movie, but it's when I read the script that is just, I've never forgotten this movie.
And of course, the Silence of the Lambs always made me want to try a nice fine Chianti. So there's that going for it.
And there's always Goodbye Horses.
Yeah, I don't want to think about Goodbye Horses and Buffalo Bill at the moment. So that being said, we have completed number 9, and we are at number 8. In this round, we are starting off with Sir L.T. Giles.
Yoo-hoo! I'll make you famous. I shall finish the game. My number 8 is Young Guns 2. Speaking of captivation, ever since I was in 3rd grade, I read this book about Billy the Kid, and I've always been fascinated about him. And the soundtrack to this movie is great. And there's always that mystery of Wild Rush Bill Roberts that came before the governor of New Mexico and claimed to be Billy the Kid. And it's always been a favorite of mine, one of my favorite Westerns.
All right, yeah, sorry. Sometimes my computer freezes a second. So if you see a little bit of a delay, that's the reason why. All right, so that takes us to Jerry, number 8.
My number 8 movie. This might get some hate by some people on the panel, but Robert Zemeckis does it again, and that is Forrest Gump. This movie, it was just so, I don't know how to describe it. It has
Overrated.
so many No, not overrated. Definitely not that.
It's not in my list, but it's in my honorable mentions. I cried with this movie.
Of course you did, Tinker.
I mean, you could cry. You especially laugh. I mean, it was everything. All these moments in history were played so cleverly and done so well to get, this Forrest Gump, this character who's just so lovable that he. Yeah. Someone obviously someone has a hate towards the mentally disabled here, but Forrest Gump, number 8. It leaves you with a little bit of a message at the end too, where is it fate? Is it all happening by chance? What's the deal? And it's just entertaining as hell. And Tom Hanks did an amazing performance in this movie.
Listen,
I
was going to say that movie made me fall in love with all different kinds of shrimp, and it also made me want to invest in Nike and Apple computers.
I might not be a smart man, Jenny, but I do know what love is.
You did know what love is. You don't need to be a smart man to know what love is. And
Forrest Gump, great movie,
but you really don't.
It's my brother's favorite movie of all time, and we watched that movie about 100 times when we were kids. And I always thought Jenny was a terrible person.
She was.
But anyway. Yeah. Anyway.
But Forrest was such a good guy. He looked through it, and it wasn't because he was stupid. It was just because he was amoral, and he was just a great guy.
Yeah, and very quotable movie, too. All right. Don Willie, number 8.
So my number 8 is a Western, biopic. And it talks about a town in Arizona, a town
Wyatt
where
Earp.
lawlessness reigned supreme,
Kevin Costner.
and where a man from Dodge City had to come and clean it up. Him, his brothers, and a man named Doc Holliday. And that movie, no, Jerry, is not Wyatt Earp because that movie sucks. This movie I'm talking about is Tombstone. And man, listen, Kurt Russell, I think, did a great job portraying Wyatt Earp, even though I don't know what the fuck Wyatt Earp was like in real life. But, you know, I don't understand how Val Kilmer did not get an award for Doc Holliday.
He did get an award. It was called the role of Batman.
Yeah, but that's not the award he deserved for that, man. He deserved an Oscar for his portrayal of Doc Holliday. I thought the movie was great in its interpretation of that, you know, time in history in terms of telling the story. And, you know, look, as much as Wyatt Earp was the good guy, it also showed you that he wasn't always necessarily the good guy, even though he wasn't as bad as the Cowboys. And yeah, I mean that, you know, double entendre, Jerry, just for you. But anyway, yeah, I love that movie. You know, very quotable, you know, and damn it, I might watch that after we're done here. So
I might too. That was a badass movie.
Here's a Wyatt Earp fun fact. He was a legitimate pimp. He owned a brothel and he had prostitutes and he took their money. So the more you know about Wyatt Earp.
Here's a fun fact about Doc Holliday is that the character Ashley from Gone with the Wind is actually based on Doc Holliday, which is kind of hard to imagine because the portrayals of Doc Holliday and that wimpy character in Gone with the Wind are as opposite as could be. But you know, the person that wrote Gone with the Wind, Doc Holliday, was her cousin, and she based it off of him. I don't know what she was thinking. Maybe Doc Holliday changed throughout time. I don't know, but yeah, way different personalities from what we can see, from what we see.
All right, so I guess we're at me now for my number 8. And I talked about how much I love the Coen brothers. And this is I don't know, it's either my personal favorite or my second favorite Coen brothers movie. And that is Fargo. Fargo is a awesome movie that William H. Macy, you know, and if you kind of watch the TV show, it kind of had a similar kind of storyline about a Weasley kind of guy that keeps digging himself deeper and deeper into a hole. And he gets involved with these criminals. Steve Buscemi, he's already made my list twice in this. He was in Big Lebowski, now he's in Fargo. He's just a great actor. And he plays such a Weasley guy too. And Marge Gunderson is a great character. The pregnant every woman. And of course they had the ridiculous accented Minnesota accents, but it's just a great movie. And I mean, who can forget Steve Buscemi in the wood chipper? That's just, I mean, spoilers, but yeah, he ends up in a wood chipper. So yeah, Fargo is my number 8 favorite movie, which takes us to Tinker.
So my number 8 is a movie that I really love, that I think is a great movie, but I don't think a lot of people would have it in their list. They would like recognize it as a good movie, but I don't know if they would have it in their list, but I do, and it's Good Will Hunting, which is a movie that I remember when I saw it, and it's just, I absolutely loved it. It's one of the movies that I've seen over and over again. They got an Oscar for writing, both of them, and they wrote it and acted in it. And I think it's the movie in which I fell in love with Matt Damon as an actor. I think I love Matt Damon as an actor, and I think that's the first movie that I saw of him, and I'm like, I'm gonna follow this actor, and I really, really loved it, and I'm gonna see more of his movies. And it's a very simple, but it's funny, but it's hard. There's sad moments. It's just, what can I say? I love it.
And I think, or go ahead, Jerry.
I was gonna say, funny trivia about that movie. Originally, when they first wrote the script, it was more of a Jason Bourne style movie with Will Hunting being like an agent for the I think he's NSA, CIA, and being like a mathematical genius. And then they just kind of figured out, no, let's just make it about the relationship, about this. And good thing they did, because it turned out to be an excellent movie, and we all like them apples.
Yeah, it's funny because Gus Van Sant is usually more about people's dynamic.
Well, he wasn't part of it when it was like that until he came part of it later. Gus Van Sant was one of the last pieces actually put into it. They went through several directors. I think they were going to get Meathead to direct it. Then they were going to ask Kevin Smith to direct it, and they all said no. And they finally came to Gus Van Sant.
And I was going to say, despite some of his later movies, there was a time where I think you could say that Robin Williams was the best actor who could tote the line between drama, really strong dramatic performances, and really strong comedic performances.
I agree 100%. I mean, I was mentioning earlier about, World According to Garp, same thing. Well, Good Morning Vietnam, same thing. Dead Poet Society, same thing.
I've never seen this movie, Good Will Hunting, you guys are referring to. No, I'm just playing. It's a great movie.
All right, that takes us to Anne, number 8.
Okay, my eighth favorite movie. Again, I'm not sure any of you will have seen it. It is the 1993 movie by Emir Kusturica named Arizona Dream. Yep, I don't think anyone has seen it. So maybe some people in the chat, maybe some Johnny Depp fans will have seen it. I really like Kusturica's work in general. I think I wanted to mention this one more particularly because it's the one that's in English and not in Serbian. So it's definitely, it's probably not his best movie. It's my favorite movie because it's easier for me to watch a movie about Americans than it is about the Serbian culture because it's more familiar to me. But anyway, all of his movies are good. The soundtrack in his movies is also always really, really good. And so how to sum up that movie? It's not very easy. It's one of those movies that is more like a poem than it is a story, which is something I think I said last video. That is something I really like. It's basically the story of Axel, the Johnny Depp character, who ends up in Arizona for his uncle's wedding. His uncle is played by Jerry Lewis. And yeah, it's just like weird scene, weird encounters. It's for those of you who have watched last week's video, it's not that dissimilar to the atmosphere of Baghdad Cafe. It has a lot more dialogue, but it's something along those lines. So, yep, I'll try.
And you said it was called
Arizona Dream.
A Reason to Dream?
No, Arizona, the state.
Oh, okay.
Dream.
Okay. I can't say I've heard that one, but
yeah,
you always have interesting picks, Ann.
Have you seen any movie from Costa Rica? From the director?
No. I don't think so, but
yeah, I mean, I think his most famous one is Time of the Gypsy. I think that's like his most famous movie. Yeah.
I'll look into it. All right, so that takes us to number 7. So everybody in the chat, you can start rattling off your number 7s if you want. Jerry's going to start us off with this round.
And my movie has been mentioned already once. It was the first 2, Peter. And that is Silence of the Lambs. For pretty much all the reasons that Tinker mentioned earlier. And just this whole back and forth between Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins, the Hannibal Lecter character, just incredible. The guy who even played Buffalo Bill, that guy was great too. You got 2 great villains, one helping the protagonist, the other one, doing things. It's just, it was just an awesome thriller. It's the way a thriller should be done. And I love the ending. Heck, Lecter breaking out, calling to let her know that about the land, lamb's finally sleeping is kind of like a symbolism of her getting over her stuff. So, love that.
If you
look at lambs, what's that?
If you look at all if you look at all the Hannibal movies, it's funny because a lot of the people that he kills, they deserve it. They're douches.
That ending scene has one of my favorite ending lines to that movie, and that's
Oh, I'm
I'm
gonna have
having an
my
old friend for dinner. Yeah,
the jerk. What do you call it? Warden.
yeah. All right, so Don Willie, number 8 or 7. My bad.
So, growing up in New York City in the 80s and 90s, we had the crack epidemic. Drugs was rampant on the streets of the city, which fueled crime, but it also fueled culture outside of that, popular culture to a certain extent, from music to movies. And one of the movies that it definitely influenced in the early 1990s, that is one of my favorites to this day, is New Jack City. This was, quintessential urban drug dealer story. You had Nino Brown played by Wesley Snipes. You had Ice-T, man who was a gangster rapper playing a cop. And unfortunately, the one dark spot in that movie, Mario Van Peebles. He did a great job directing, but for me, he always comes off as inauthentic for whatever reason. But I was able to overlook him because he wasn't really in the movie that much. You had Chris Rock, playing a junkie / informant. And look, for those of you who would like to see a gangster story where it's not all about glorifying a bad guy doing bad things and somehow getting paid for it, I think that you definitely should check out New Jack City if you have not, because if you haven't, you're depriving yourself. Don't deprive yourself. The Don commands you.
Nino Brown is a scary dude. That's all I'll say about New Jack City. All right, so that takes us to my number 7 movie. And I thought, what would be the perfect movie to put at 7? I don't know. Maybe the movie 7. So number 7 of my list is 7. David Fincher's 7, of course. What's in the box? What's in the box? I mean, that scene alone is one of my favorite scenes in any movie. That ending is pretty terrifying. Kevin Spacey did a great job as John Doe. And Morgan Freeman is just a beast. He's great in everything he does. And young Brad Pitt. I thought this was a good spot for Brad Pitt in terms of his acting, because he did 7 and 12 Monkeys like relatively back to back, and I think he did a good job. Actually showing that maybe he's just not a good-looking dude, and maybe he can't act a little bit. And 7, just creepy atmosphere, creepy ending, just a good movie. So 7 is my number 7, which takes us to Tinker.
Just to be fair with Brad, I mean, it's not a movie I love, but I think right before he did a river runs through it, where he had a lot of acting to do.
Right.
That movie was meh.
Yeah, I know. I mean, not my kind of movie, but it's just like, he was already past his phase of. He was still acting like it was still a pretty boy cast, but he was already like a good actor, being a pretty boy.
But I think 7 and 12 Monkeys though kind of solidified it, I guess. Like maybe that was like the first, and then this kind of solidified it.
Yeah, like he was good in like Legends of the Fall, but that was still kind of a chick movie. Whereas this, like 7 and 12 Monkeys, were more like made him more of a man's man.
All right, so Tink, you're number 7.
Okay, so my number 7 is a movie that I love, but I find terribly sad, so I don't watch it a lot, and it's Schindler's List. There's a lot of World War II movies, and I think this is one of the best ones. It shows the really harsh reality of what happened, but it also shows a person that can change, and can decide to do what's right, and even if, and save people. And it shows the horror of that time without, there's been other movies about World War II, but they're just, I cannot watch them. They're just too hard. It kills my will to live. It leaves me down. Well, this one, it shows the horrors, the horrible monstrosities that were done, and that should never ever be repeated. But it also leaves you with a hope, of the good things that also came from this horrible thing that happened. And he's just a fantastic director, and every shot, every scene is a masterpiece. So this is my movie. This is my seventh top movie.
Good choice. All right, so that leaves us with Anne. Your number 7.
Okay, now I'm joining the group of movies I have higher than you guys. I think we're going to go through a big portion of my list there are movies that you've already named that I just put higher. So my number 7 is, I want to pull Jerry. So I put Pulp Fiction as my number 7 movie because, again, like who doesn't like Pulp Fiction? It's so iconic. And again, that's so 90s. One person.
I know it's hard to believe, but he hates everything that Tarantino does. It still amazes me, but
I would just want to put as a honorable mention next to it Reservoir Dog, that I really liked. I think I like the fact that Tarantino didn't have that much budget to do that movie, so that it was very minimal. I really like the reclose atmosphere. So yeah, I would put on equal par Reservoir Dog and Pulp Fiction.
2 movies then? What is this? This is now we have rules here.
I said that, yeah.
And Reservoir Dogs will never let you listen to Stuck in the Middle with You the Same ever again. When he's cutting the guy's ear off listening to that song. But yeah, I love that soundtrack from Reservoir Dogs. All right, so good pick, Ann. And that leaves us with LT at number 7.
Sorry about that. Yeah, my number 7 is Tombstone. Just awesome movie. Like, I agree with Don Willie that Val Kilmer should have got an Oscar. My favorite parts of the movie is when the guy's slapping the horse, and then Wyatt Earp slaps him, and is like, "Hurts, don't it?" And then one of the hardest punks in a movie is where Wyatt gets to the it's like the guy's playing, he's dealing, and it's Billy Bob Thornton. A lot of people didn't know it was Billy Bob Thornton because he was a lot heavier back then. And he just slaps him, and he's like, "I said, throw down, boy. You gonna do something or just stand there and bleed?" And then, of course, at the end, when Wyatt Earp is all fucked up and sick, and he's like, "Doc, what are you doing out of here?" He goes, "Wyatt Earp is my friend." And he's like, "I got a lot of friends." He's like, "I don't."
Tombstone's a great movie. And I think my personal favorite character from Tombstone that no one ever talks about is Sam Elliott as Virgil. I think he was great in Tombstone. All right, anyway, that takes us into the 6s. And Don Willie is going to start us off.
It puts the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again. Put the lotion in the fucking basket. Silence of the Lambs. That movie was so awesome. I mean, you got Hannibal Lecter, who is stuck behind plate glass in solitary confinement, and yet he is still able to scare the shit out of you, even when he can't touch you. So, I mean, great psychological thriller. The whole plot with Buffalo Bill and Agent Starling needing to go to a man who is a convicted serial killer in order to get someone else who was a serial killer, and just the way that he was able to manipulate everyone around him. I mean, think about it. This guy was, chopping people up and eating them, and yet somehow he still was able to get the guards to kind of almost trust him inside of his cell, you know, which is kind of how he was able to escape. So yeah, man, that was a great performance by Anthony Hopkins. You know, and out of the entire Hannibal movie lineage, that was probably the best one out of all of them.
It was the lotion in the fucking basket. I hated his voice. His voice was so creepy. Anyway, my number 6, I think, is kind of an underlooked movie. And I think it should have won way more Oscars than it did. I think it should have definitely was better than the movie that it lost to in 1997. And of course, that's because that movie was Titanic, and it just swept everything in the Oscars. But I think this movie was superior to Titanic, and that is L.A. Confidential. I think it's a great neo-noir movie story told about 1950s and 1940s L.A. You had, you know, social commentary about racism in there, about corruption and greed, and I just think it's a great movie. It's one of the first time, you know, this is when Russell Crowe was starting to get big, and he gave a great performance as kind of a firecracker detective. First, you didn't like Guy Ritchie's character, but by the end, you did, and you were rooting for him. You were surprised once him and Russell Crowe formed a partnership. And of course, and Kevin Spacey, you know, his role was very surprising. I didn't expect what was going to happen to him to happen. So there was good twists and turns in the movie, and I think it's a movie that everyone should watch. I love L.A. Confidential. Very cool L.A. noir thing about it. So, yeah. Which takes us to Tink, number 6.
So my number 6 is The Last of the Mohicans. Is a movie. Hey, I see that Jerry seems to approve. It's a movie that one of the things that captured me the most was the soundtrack. I absolutely love the soundtrack of The Last Mohican. I have it, and it's just what I think it's a great movie. I think that it's a movie that maybe a lot of people don't appreciate as much as I think it should be appreciated. But it's a movie that I don't know what to say about it except that I loved it. I love it, and I think it's perfect.
The old man is badass. His Warhammer.
I just hate so much.
Of course,
Day-Lewis. I think one of his movies is gonna be like in my very high in my most hated movies of the 2000s.
There Will Be Blood.
No spoilers, James. No spoilers.
I've never seen Last of the Mohicans.
it's fucking great. That's all I gotta say. And he rips the guy's heart out and like shows everyone.
Whatever. Hold
the
on.
Final battle.
Hold on. Oh, 1 second. LT, have you seen The Last Samurai?
Yep.
Then you've seen Last of the Mohicans.
Cool.
Oh, don't say that. The Last of the
No, there's nothing alike.
The Last Samurai is like an attempt to do The Last of the Mohicans, but
I wouldn't even say that. The Last of the Mohicans is a different movie, and it's a far superior movie too.
All right, have you seen Dances with Wolves?
Okay, Dances with Wolves and Last Samurai are a little more
Then
similar.
you've
but
seen Last of the Mohicans.
No, they're not similar. They're
Have
not
you
the
seen
same
Avatar? If you
No.
see Avatar,
Don Willie, have you seen Last of the Mohicans? I don't think.
Yes, I have seen Last of the Mohicans.
I don't think you've seen it the way you're talking.
I've seen it. I've seen it. Trust me.
Anyway,
all I would
let's.
say is that maybe I would like that movie more if I just oh god, I just hate that actor so much.
who do you hate?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
What?
Yeah, he's the main character. You know, I have to admit, I'm not a huge fan of his, but it's just, I'm okay with him for this movie.
No, I mean, I think it's a
He
great
might put
movie.
his left foot up your ass. Is what I think is going to
Oh,
happen.
because like
I don't know,
one of
I-
his great movie, My Left Foot. And no, I'm not making fun of people with disabilities, Jerry. It's just okay. My problem, Daniel Day-Lewis, because we want to talk about him right now. It's just so not hysterical. That does not translate well in English because that means funny in English. He's just way too intense. Way too intense.
And I think he's got kind of the Meryl Streeps going on, where like no matter if he does a movie, he's going to get nominated for an Oscar regardless of what it is. So I think maybe he's got a little bit of overrated thing going on, but I don't hate him, but I do.
Well, he's real careful on what he chooses. So like he always gets in a good movie because he doesn't do anything else. Just
I don't know. I thought
to come by.
I didn't think Lincoln was maybe a little boring, but
okay, yeah. Lincoln
I thought he
boring.
was great in Gangs in New York.
He was the only thing good about Gangs in New York.
He's very dramatic. I agree, but he's
whoopsie daisy.
But he's
anyway. All right, go ahead, Tink.
Come on, how many times do Jerry and I agree to this degree?
Not very often. Anyway, Ann, it's actually your turn. So your number, wherever we're at, 6.
6. My number 6. Okay. Oh, okay. I guess I could maybe pull a Jerry again. So my number 6 was The Big Lebowski, which I think is my favorite Coen Brothers movie. Now I should not start that, but it's. I also really like Fargo, so I can mention Fargo. They've both been mentioned wonderfully by you, James, so I won't add anything.
Alrighty.
But yeah, it's a movie and I agree with what you said. It's a movie that gets better every time you rewatch it.
I said that.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I never agreed with you so much, Jerry. I get confused.
But I did say, like I said, I watched it like 50 times, so that's part of the same kind of mantra there. Which takes us to LT, your number 6. Oh, LT dropped out. All right, well, LT is coming back in. Jerry, go ahead and give us your number 6.
My number 6. And you only need one word to explain the greatness of it.
I got bumped out.
And that is dinosaurs, baby. Jurassic Park, number 6. This movie, this is just a great lesson of why you don't fuck with nature. Who didn't just lose their shit when they saw all the dinosaurs? Either you lost your shit from being scared, or you lost your shit from oh, it's so awesome, dinosaurs. I was in the latter. I love seeing it. That as great as everything was, from the human, Sam Neill was cool. Jeff Goldblum was funny as hell. Samuel Jackson was telling everyone to hold on to their butts, but you know what? Forget all that. The dinosaurs were the real show. That T-Rex was just badass. The Raptors, oh, they were just so awesome. Some of the great villains. Yeah, fucking dinosaurs. That's all you got to say about this movie. It's great. Spielberg brought an A game with this one.
It's indeed an all-time great.
It was so good. I went and read there was 2 movies that were really, after seeing the movie, I had to go read the books. One was Last of the Mohicans. The other one was Jurassic Park.
It's so great that you look back and say, what the hell happened in Jurassic Park 3? When they made a raptor talk to Sam Neill. Alan! I always remember that scene. Anyway, we won't talk about Jurassic Park 3. All right, LT, going back to you. You're number 6.
Andy, the frame was my friend. I hope I can see my friend again. What can you say about the Shawshank Redemption? It's a great movie. I've never met anybody who said they didn't like this movie. I mean, it's just a great movie. I've never read the book, and anybody who has read the book, let me know if it's as good as the movie, because it's just a great movie, and I can't see the book being better than the movie. I mean, maybe, but I don't know.
Good pick. I think it might be showing up again. I'll just leave it at that. All right, so that takes us to the number 5s. We're getting close.
I actually got the book right here. Right here. If anyone ever wants to read it, it's 4 seasons. It's got a bunch of different stories. Stephen King. So it's a good.
There you go.
It's not as good as the movie though. The movie's better.
All right, so we're in our top 5, and I'm starting the 5s off this round. And what do I got here? All right. Number 5, Jerry just talked about it. It is Jurassic Park. And
dinosaurs, bitch.
Let's talk about this movie. I mean, I don't remember every single theater experience I had as a kid, but I will always remember Jurassic Park. It's one of the first movies I ever went to as a kid. I don't know, I was 7 years old. And I don't know, I probably should, maybe this shouldn't have been the first movie I ever watched in the theater, but it was. And I just remember being so scared in the scene, you know, being a 7-year-old kid, seeing these kids hide away in the kitchen by some raptors. Very great directing by Steven Spielberg. I mean, obviously, everything Spielberg does essentially is great anyway, for the most part. You know, obviously he's had a few misses here and there, but he just knows how to capture wonder, and, you know, he can direct the hell out of a movie using practical effects, and just a great director. And yeah, I just always remember the first time the theme hits, and you see the Brachiosauruses, and you have Sam Neill with his mouth on the floor, and he's turning Laura Dern's head to go look at the Brachiosauruses. It's like chill city, man. You get like goosebumps all up your body. And I will always remember these things from Jurassic Park, and that's the reason why it has a prominent spot on my list at number 5.
I'll also remember it because it came out on my birthday, like June 11th, 1993.
And there you go. All right, that takes us to Tink.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park
Dinosaurs.
is my number 5. And why am I going to repeat myself? Jerry and James already said everything that has to be said about this movie, which is just fantastic.
There we go. I think it's the first time we've had
back to a time when dinosaurs ruled the earth.
I think that's the first time on the list that we had a back-to-back-to-back Jurassic, you know, on a certain movie. So, and I don't know. I don't think it's going to be making 4 in a row, but Anne, here you go. With number 5.
Of course not.
Of course not. No, but I think my number 5 might be on Tinker's list. But it's not. It's not Jurassic Park. It's a good movie. I didn't put it in my honorable mention because I already had way too many movies on my honorable mention, but it's a good movie. It's not on my list. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. Okay, my number 5. Okay, I'm stopping at 11 seconds, which is the best Disney movie ever. The Lion King.
Not the best ever.
It is the best ever. It's my turn to talk.
Top 5.
The best Disney movie ever. It has the best soundtrack. All the characters are cool. In some Disney movies, one thing I don't like is I'm not always crazy about the little sidekicks. I love Beauty and the Beast, but I'm not crazy about the talking teapot and like too many cutie sidekicks. But it doesn't have that there. Okay, maybe just the toucan was like Yoda toucan. No, not the toucan. The toucan is not Yoda. It's the baboon who's like Yoda, who speaks like Yoda.
What is his name? I can't remember his name. Remember, he kicks
Rafiki, I think.
Yeah, you follow Rafiki. He knows the way.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, the best. Except when I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, I had some Disney on like VHS tapes. So yes, I've watched them over and over and over and over again. But as an adult, that's the Disney movie I've watched the most. I just love it. And maybe because they're animals, I don't think the design like don't hurt my eyes that much, seeing them as an adult as some others do. So yeah, Lion King all the way.
Remember when Rafiki did the badass ninja moves with the staff?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah,
it's great. You can't. Great.
I believe Lion King still, adjusted for inflation, has the largest animation or largest budget for an animated movie, and it showed the animation was beautiful in that movie. Especially like a lot of the. What's up?
Oh, keep going. I got something there.
What's
no,
cool
I was gonna say
about, oh, sorry. Go ahead,
I was say especially with like the sweeping camera work, especially when the avalanche or not the avalanche, the stampede was happening. That was like really good hand drawn animated stuff that had a lot of. I thought it was excellent.
Obviously, everybody knows Mufasa is James Earl Jones, but the Queen was the same Queen from Coming to America who did the voice, so that's pretty cool too.
Are y'all excited about the live action Lion King that's going to be coming out?
No.
Why?
I mean, I'll give it a chance because I mean, the Jungle Book remake was decent, but now the Jungle Book isn't the Lion King though. Like, so it is kind of worse. I don't know. I mean, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and see if it's any good or not. But
I am a bit afraid.
Yeah, I'm gonna break Tinker's heart, but I refuse to watch any of those live animated remakes. Like, no, I have the Blu-ray of the original. I don't want to watch the same exact thing with humans
Right.
and CGI.
You know what? Speaking of the Lion King, B-Fish, Brendan B-Fish, helped me figure out that basically and objectively that Scar and Renly are basically the same character.
That's very, very true. Except that the only difference that Renly is the better looking brother.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
But
that's it.
that's the only difference. Yeah, totally. Okay.
And the
High five for
Scar
B-Fish.
manages to kill Mufasa. Renly would never be capable of actually, like, he
was trying to kill everybody.
Well, yes,
When
but
he
he
got-
by himself
Hey,
would have been able.
If Mufasa had shadow babies, he would have used it on Scar.
Yeah, but Renly by himself would not have been able to take out Stannis, and Scar manages to take out Mufasa. Like, come on, no, Renly
I
was
think we're
have to be Scar.
Scar didn't take on Mufasa. Scar tricked Mufasa into jumping into the.
Yeah, but he was smart. Can you imagine Renly just by himself managing to trick Stannis? And no, Renly was
anyway.
soft. He wasn't hardcore like Scar.
We're going into a little bit of left field here. Lion King, terrific movie.
And again, if you wanted to start a podcast where we could discuss such wonderful topic as which A Song of Ice and Fire character we can find in Disney movies, please let us know in the comments because we need a boost in morale to start that.
And you are right, sweet. It is in my list.
All right, so LT, what's your number 7?
7?
You mean number 5?
Number 5.
Yeah, my number 5 is a movie that came out in 1990. It's called The Five Heartbeats. It's about a group that was around in the 60s.
Shit, we lost LT again. But damn it, that was a good pick, though.
That was an interesting pick. It was more of an honorable mention pick for me.
LT's
but yeah.
back.
Yeah,
Tell him about Shy Brother, LT.
I'm not going to go into Shy Brother because that's just the funny part of the movie. But the movie, to me, is a movie that back in 91, we had a friend that had one of those old big screens that are real fat, and we'd go over there and watch it like a lot. And I love it to this day. I just love the movie. You tell him about Shy Brother, Jerry.
Well, basically, this movie confirms that Ned and Ashara did not happen. And that's all I can say. If you don't understand why, watch the movie.
Well, while you're unmuted, Jerry, you're up next. What's your number 5?
All right, guys. I got to confess to something. I've done it. I couldn't decide. These movies were all... They all had the same theme of everything, and that is Ed Wood, Living in Oblivion, an American movie. And it just depends on what kind of style that you like on these movies. They're all basically about filmmaking and, what it takes to be a filmmaker like Ed Wood. It's a biopic done by Tim Burton about the famous B-movie director, considered the worst director of all time, Ed Wood. And basically it's about, just Ed Wood, doing whatever he takes, to raise the money to get his movies done and done in the way that he wants it done. Achieve his style of dream, do things how he wants it, to be done. And Living in Oblivion, that's if anyone's ever seen that, Steve Buscemi's a director trying to make his movie. And he's trying to, it's kind of like about everything that goes on during, like, the shooting of a movie, of a set. You're trying so hard to get, people to do exactly how you want it to do, and you're taking take after take, and things just keep going wrong, whether the light blows out when, something goes, the actor's either not working, or the light blows out, or when the actors finally get it just right, you find out your cameraman was sick and missed the shot, or the fog isn't working how you want it to. Just all like how hard it is to just get that perfect moment down in a movie. I think this might also be for Game of Thrones fans. It might be Peter Dinklage's first movie. He plays an angry dwarf that's mad about being cast as a dwarf. He's like, why do we got a dwarf in here? So he's mad about that. What's up?
I was like, just be clear, you picked 2 movies, right?
3 movies, and then American movie. That's more of a biography. So not a documentary. It's also about a filmmaker trying to raise money to do a movie that he feels real passionate about, feels that he really wants to do. But in order to do that, he's got to complete some kind of crappy short film, and he has to sell that to it. All of these movies are pretty much excellent, and like anyone who's ever interested in any kind of filmmaking, I highly recommend any of these 3 movies. If I'm having to say which is the best, my favorite, I would probably go with the American movie, but it depends. Because American movie is a little bit more of a documentary, where the other ones are more movies. But either way, they're all great, and they're all like about filmmaking. They're all about chasing your dream and doing it how you wanted to do it, doing it doing whatever you're passionate about. Like, I mean, I like Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg a lot, but I mean those guys kind of like make other people's movies. They don't have a lot of heart in their movies, whereas this is about where following your heart and doing what you want, doing what you want, following your passion, and because that's where greatness comes from. True greatness comes from what's inside you.
I've not seen American movie, but I really like the other 2 you mentioned.
Oh, you've seen those 2 movies?
Yeah.
Well, Ed Wood's kind of popular. Not many people have seen Living in Oblivion.
Yeah, well, actually, I had to, because it's not at all the same title in French. But yeah, when I was doing my list, it was one I briefly considered to put into the honorable mentions, but then it was going to be a really, really long. Yeah, it's called It Rolls, because it shoots in Manhattan. That's the title in French, which, yes, I have seen when it came out and I really liked.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, especially if anyone's interested in filmmaking. Definitely watch these movies. Like, it's almost a must, in my opinion, especially American movies. If you're interested.
Anyway, Don Willie, what's your number 5? Your 1 movie at number 5. Your 1 movie at number 5. What you got?
So my 1 movie at number 5, another gangster movie from the 90s, urban classic, a lot of quotables. One of them is like, motherfucker, I said cheeseburger. And that is Menace to Society. During the early 90s with the rise of gangster rap, you also had the rise of a lot of West Coast gangster movies. And, between that, Boys in the Hood, South Central, and a bevy of other ones, I think the one that for me stands out the most has to be Menace to Society. And again, the thing that I like about it is it doesn't glorify the gangster lifestyle. It shows you the ups and downs, and spoiler alert, the main character dies at the end. But if you haven't seen that movie, which is over 20 years old at this point, the hell are you doing? Go on Netflix. It's on there. Go watch it.
What about Don't Be a Menace to Society while drinking your juice in the hood?
It's actually Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood, Jerry. But close enough. Good movie. Good comedy.
It's funny. All right. So now we're into our top 4. And we're going to start it off with Tinker. So
my number 4 movie is on a wonderful phrase. Ain't no passing phrase. It means no worries for the rest of the day. It's our problem free. Who wants to be? So Sweet was right. This is my number 4 movie. I love Disney movies, and this is not my only Disney movie in the list. But when this movie came out, I was 5 or 6, something of that sort, and I absolutely loved it. I went to the cinema with every single person who had not seen The Lion King. I think I saw it in the cinema like 5 times. My mom was desperate just to find people who hadn't seen it, so she did not have to see it again with me. But I absolutely love this movie. I've got the entire soundtrack. I know all the songs. It's just perfect. And well, I am curious about the live action. I'm also absolutely terrified because this is just, it's just hard. Once you have perfection, it's very hard. And they did do the Jungle Book very, very well. But still, you know, the focus was a kid and not the end. I'm just worried. What were you saying, LT?
I was saying, can you feel the love tonight?
Could.
So this is my number 4.
Good choice. Good choice. Anne, number 4.
My number 4 movie, which I was so surprised it wasn't higher, I mean, it was that low on some of your list, is the classic 1999 movie by the Wachowski brothers, The Matrix. It just changed the game. It just filmed sci-fi in a way that hadn't been filmed before. And yeah, I mean, it was great. I think it's been really ruined by the remake. I mean, like not remakes, but the like sequels, which why I remember going to watch The Matrix 2 and being so excited because I loved the movie so much. And I was there and I had bought my ticket like a week in advance and I was waiting in line to get a good seat. And then The Matrix 2. And I never even watched Matrix 3 because it was like, okay, I'm done with that series. But The Matrix is just amazing. It was just wow the first time I saw it.
That's why I hated
Right
the sequels. Just yeah.
LT, number 4.
No Women, No Children. My favorite movie of the 90s, number 4, is The Professional. I love this movie. This character is just so. You want to know more about him, and then Gary Oldman as the villain is one of the scariest villains I've ever seen. The scene where he's like, get everyone. He's like, everyone. Like, Gary Oldman nails it in this movie. This movie is just, to me, a really good movie.
And what was that movie called in French? Because I know that was released also in France, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I saw it in France.
No, The Professional. Leon the Professional.
Oh, Leon. Sorry.
The part where he's on top of the roof and he comes down and just, oh my god.
Well, fun fact, Luc Besson, the director, he also wrote the screenplay for that movie, you know, because Leon and the little girl kind of had kind of a weird kind of thing going on, and it was much more implicit in the extended cut. And that was actually mirroring Luc Besson's first marriage when he married I think he married like a 14-year-old girl when he was like 30.
No, it's not legal in France to marry a 14-year-old.
Well, he married a young, or he was at least engaged.
I thought French were all kind of crazy like that.
Yeah, no, okay, yes. In France, sexual age, which means that you can't be charged for pedophilia, is I think 15, if I'm not mistaken, 15 or 16. So, you know, you can have sex with someone who's 15 or 16 and you won't be charged with pedophilia, but you can't marry that person. You can't even be engaged to that person. You can have that person living in your house. There's one thing that is, how could I translate that? Well, anyway, you can't take away from the parent's authority anyone who's under 18. So any relationship that would take the person under 18 away from the parents' authority is not legal. If that
Okay.
makes
Well,
sense.
excuse me. It mirrored his relationship with her. How about that?
I know here in Nevada, if somebody's 16 and they want to get married to an adult, their parents have to write permission. Is that the same in Kansas and Texas and New York?
I'm not sure.
I think so, but I don't know. I don't really see people trying it.
Anyway, Jerry, you're number 4.
Guys, I did it again, and
Oops, I did it again.
not quite like that, but this was just the introduction of what truly great dialogue this movie could be. And like Ann was saying, like just BSing and having a podcast, how making that entertaining. They took that and made that into a movie, and that is Reservoir Dogs. And I guess just throw Pulp Fiction a burn. Even though, James, if you want an actual one, it'd be Reservoir Dogs. I prefer that more, but giving Pulp Fiction a little bit of a bone there. Tarantino just came on, he introduced what great dialogue in a movie truly is. Like that opening cafe scene where they're talking about the Madonna song and they're just BSing about that. That shouldn't be prior to movies. That shouldn't have been into a movie, but it's entertaining as hell. And, it just showed that, Tarantino was, a great craft of dialogue. We saw it again in Pulp Fiction. But, yeah, you really need a one, Reservoir Dogs, but, I'm going with the Reservoir Dogs Pulp Fiction / here.
I'm only going with one because you already cheated once. You can't cheat twice on the list. You only cheat once.
Well, we'll see about that.
Well, you can't cheat 3 times. You definitely can't cheat 3 times. Anyway, Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi in another movie in the 90s. Great decade for Steve Buscemi. Great actor. Don Willie.
Fucking Jerry, man. So number 4. This one, I don't know. You know what? I happen to seem to love crime dramas, especially one set in New York. And starts with one of the greatest opening lines ever. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. Goodfellas, the story of Hank Hill. That was a great throwback movie, especially because it was set in like the 70s and 80s. And, brilliant directing by Martin Scorsese. It had one of the greatest kind of tracking shots where he's going into the restaurant to go meet De Niro and what the hell's dude's name?
What, Pesci?
No, Pesci, yeah. I mean, come on, and then we get the classic scene with you're just a funny guy. I'm like, what do you mean by funny? Funny like how? Oh man, that was an awesome thrill ride of a movie, and I mean, come on, man, who doesn't love Goodfellas?
I think you got your Hills mixed up. Don Willie, it's Henry Hill. You said Hank Hill, like from King of the Hill.
Oh shit! Wow. Yeah, you're right. Oh wow, I can't believe it. Listen, don't come and whack me, okay? Don't come whack me, guys.
Hank Hill.
It's all good.
Never participated in any kind of gangster activity. He's too busy selling that propane.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will talk about Henry Hill because Don Willie, my number 4 is Goodfellas, and I think that might surprise LT because he thought that was gonna be my number 1. Not quite, but Goodfellas is one of my all-time favorites. A great gangster movie, of course. Joe Pesci knocked it out of the park, especially, and a lot of great performances as a whole. I do think De Niro might be a little underused in the movie. I think specifically Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci stood out for me. But that being said, I mean, it's just a great movie. I don't think anything else needs to be said about Goodfellas. It's a great movie. Oh, I do like the fact that when they have a dead, a guy they thought they killed in the trunk of their car, they go and eat, pasta with Joe Pesci's grandmother or mother. That was actually Scorsese's actual mom that was acting in that part. So, fun fact. All right, Tink, that takes us to your number 4.
My number, I started. I said The Lion King.
You are right, which means we are in our top 3, and Anne is actually going to be starting off with our number 3s.
Okay, my number 3 movie, I don't think has been mentioned yet. My top 3 movie, I have to mention a Terry Gilliam every decade. So my third favorite movie of the 90s is 12 Monkeys. Very different from what he'd done before. Amazing use of actor, amazing use of Brad Pitt, amazing use of Bruce Willis. Great twist, but the movie doesn't solely rely on it, which something I kind of dislike with movies. So yes, I'm not gonna sum up the plot because that's a very plot-heavy movie, so I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. But I'm pretty sure everyone in the chat has seen it. But in case you haven't, watch it.
I give it thumbs up.
Yes, 12 Monkeys, a great movie.
I'll be honest with you. I actually have never seen 12 Monkeys. Go ahead.
Dude,
Go ahead and shoot.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
You need to go and watch it, Don Willie.
If it's on Netflix, it's probably in my queue. I got like 100 movies in my queue on Netflix, like literally like 100. So
I haven't seen it in so long. It's like I need to see it again.
Yeah, it
is,
and it was. You were the first one to have it on your list, but I did mention it when I talked about Brad Pitt in conjunction with 7 and 12 Monkeys. But yeah, great movie. LT, you're number 3.
When you go on a date with a woman, you got to give them the test. The test is when you go over and I fucked it up. Anyways, the Bronx Tale is my favorite. I fucked that up big time. But anyways, the Bronx Tale is my number 3, and I believe the test is when you leave the door locked intentionally to see if she's gonna unlock it. I always like that. But no, Bronx Tale, like James loves Goodfellas, everybody loves Goodfellas. The Bronx Tale it's a mafia movie, but it's my favorite movies. I put it over Goodfellas, over Casino, over all the mafia movies. It's my favorite movie as far as mafia movies.
I mean, I don't necessarily 100% disagree with your placement as far as the other mob movies, but I do like that movie a lot. That one also has a lot of quotables and a lot of great scenes, like like him backing down the block and around the corner, and instead of driving around the way he should have.
When he ages up and they're playing that song, "It's a beautiful morning," he's like, "The Yankees were in last place and I didn't give a shit."
And now you can't leave.
I'll explain the test. Basically, when you're picking up a girl, you get out of your car, you leave your driver's side door locked, and when you open the passenger side door to let her in, you walk around the long way to see, like behind the car, to see if she'll unlock your driver's side door. It doesn't really apply these days as we all have remotes. But, back in the day, that was a test.
And then a great scene is when De Niro, his character, he comes up on Tony, or not Tony, on he comes up on because the kid is befriending the mobster, and he's like, "That's my son," and he's like, "I would never disrespect you," and he punches him, and he's like, "You don't know what you're talking about," Great scene.
Anyway, good pick, LT. What 5 movies are you gonna have at number 3, Jerry?
Actually, just one movie, and it is number 3, The Crow, based on the comic of the same name by James O'Barr, and basically story about like the guy who wrote this story lost his fiance in a what do you call it, wreck, a drunk driving accident. And he was so bitter about it, he wrote this story about like a guy coming back to avenge a wrongful death, and it's just a character it's just a character comes back from death. He's just basically full of rage, and he's trying to set everything right. He's basically pulling a Tinker. He's fixing everything that was wrong, that all the wrong that happened. He's trying to fix it, and it's just a great story about like emotion lost and like dealing with loss, dealing with grief.
It can't rain all the time, Jerry.
Exactly, it can't rain all the time, even though it's raining now. In this, it's raining now. Eventually, the sun's going to come up, and you'll get over your pain.
Right on.
It's just badass too. Like the character was brilliantly played by Brandon Lee. He kind of takes like the best parts of the Batman and the Joker and puts them all into this character, and just kicks the crap out of all kinds of baddies, all these street thugs that they're supposed to be the representation of alcohol, drugs, everything bad. He just beats the crap out of all of them. And
I think the true question is how much are you looking forward to the Jason Momoa Crow remake?
Get the fuck up!
All I want is him. You can't have him.
Because that's happening, people. Jason Momoa is the Crow. It's gonna happen.
I wish he would have died as Khal Drogo.
Anyway, Don Willie, you're number 3.
All right, so my number 3 is probably going to, I don't know if it's going to shock a lot of people, but fuck it, Malcolm X. To me, this was one of Spike Lee's best directing jobs. Thought it was a great biopic. And if there was any role that Denzel should have actually won an Oscar for, it was this one. I mean, Training Day was a good movie, but I kind of like that him winning for Training Day and not for Malcolm X kind of made me not take the Academy seriously anymore, because to me, like I said, I think that was probably Denzel's best performance, and there might have been other politics as to why this movie didn't get a lot of the praise that it actually deserves. Because whether or not you agreed with Malcolm X and things that he might have done, I think that this movie was an excellent movie overall.
Good choice.
Side
All right.
I think I need to stop throwing water bottles. Somehow it broke right here when I threw it. I don't know how that's possible, but
You're gonna make a mess.
Oh well.
All right, so my number 3 has been mentioned a couple times already, and that, of course, is Quentin Tarantino's 1994 classic Pulp Fiction. I believe it's a great movie. One of the first movies that I think it had a lot of balls, because it was one of the first movies to have a non-linear structure. And I know that kind of blew people's minds at the time, and I think it was just a very well, Reservoir Dogs had the same. It's kind of a similar structure.
I was about to say Reservoir Dogs is non-linear.
Yeah, but Pulp Fiction brought it to a larger audience. It did more money. It was in more theaters, and I love Reservoir Dogs too. That was like my number 11 movie. But I mean, I could have cheated. Oh fuck, I'm gonna cheat it here. I'm cheating here. Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs combination at 2. I'm doing it.
Hold on. Is this the first in the history of the list that we have a three-peat of a cheat?
I guess, yeah, 3-peat of a cheat. So yeah, Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs put together, but I would put Pulp Fiction ahead of it for me. The non-linear structure, I thought Bruce Willis was great. Of course, John Travolta back to form as Vincent Vega. You had so many quotable things. The Royale with cheese, that's what it is in Paris. You have the Gimp and Zed, those creepy bastards. You got Bruce Willis coming in with a katana and slicing them up at the end and redeeming himself in the eyes of Marcellus Wallace. It's just a lot of great things in there. Of course, people were so shocked at the fact that John Travolta this movie's been around for a long time, so spoiler alert. But John Travolta gets blown away in the mid part of the movie, but then you see him again at the end. That was like, the whole nonlinear structure thing that was going on with the Quentin Tarantino movies. And of course, I personally owned about, I don't know, 15 years ago, when I was like 18, and I had to get rid of it because it wasn't very adult. It wasn't an adult thing to have. And that was I had the Samuel L. Jackson's Bad Motherfucker wallet. I did decide to get rid of it because, I was pulling it out and people were like, oh, what does that say? I got rid of it eventually, but yeah. So I have an affinity for Pulp Fiction, and it's in my top 3.
And just so
Which
everybody
takes-
knows, in France, it's not royal with cheese, because with is not a French word. It's royal cheese. No,
that might be the first fun fact to a fun fact, because that was like a fun fact that John Travolta was giving in the movie. All right,
Thanks for killing our fun fact there, Anne.
you're welcome. Always
Fun
throwing
factception.
you in me.
But I thought he was in Amsterdam, not France.
Oh, there was also a part. It's like in Amsterdam. Do you know what they eat with fries? And it was like mayo and not ketchup. And
yeah, the actual royale with cheese part was from when he was said. That's what he said in Paris.
yeah, because then he asked, and what did it call the Big Mac? And he says, oh, the Big Mac is the Big Mac, but it's Le Big Mac.
Yeah, great movie. Which takes us to Tink's top 3.
My top 3 is one that has already been mentioned here, and is The Matrix. I absolutely love The Matrix. One of the things that I think deters a lot of people saying The Matrix is the fact that they really screwed up with 2 and 3. Like, really, what the hell happened? I mean, The Matrix was the perfect movie, and then, I don't know, it's like they were on acid where they wrote and directed the other 2 movies. And I would have just preferred to not have anything else if they just left The Matrix. Just the first one. It's just, that's all we needed. We didn't need anything else. And like many of you said, like, come on, how many times have they copied the one with the bullets, but also the one with Trinity just jumps out in the air and it freezes and then kicks her? It's just fantastic. And like the leather jackets with the sunglasses, and suddenly everyone had leather jackets and leather clothes with the sunglasses. I'm like, so many people copied this movie, but none of them was The Matrix. I absolutely loved it, and it's number 3 in my movies because I remember when I saw it in the cinemas, and I remember that when I came out of the cinema, this movie, I was like blown away. I came out of the 3rd Matrix with a friend called Sarah, and she was like, what happened? I mean, I don't understand. I mean, how did they win? It was just completely radical change. We come out of the first Matrix and we're like, whoa! At the end of the 3rd, we come out of the 3rd movie, we're like, huh? So, but it was worth it. Even when we got those 2 terrible sequels, the first movie was absolutely perfect.
Fun fact, the Matrix was originally kind of supposed to be a little bit more like the 3rd movie. Like, it was supposed to be more like computer talk, like coding talk and stuff like that. But they were like, people aren't going to, like, the producers were like, people aren't going to understand this. Change it to more mainstream. So that's what they did, and
I think
they had a little bit more clout in the next 2 to do whatever they wanted. So
I think the worst thing that happened out of the Matrix copycatting was the color grading, because like everyone wanted to be like have like black and like greens, and that was like every movie almost looked the same after that for a little bit. That was the worst part of the Matrix copycatting. But yeah, Anne, you did number 3, right, Anne?
Yes, I
12
did.
Monkeys, right? Okay. That means that LT is going to start off our number 2s. Go ahead, LT.
This next movie's got one of my favorite quotes ever. Every man dies, but not every man really lives. Braveheart. It's funny too, because just recently James turned me on to this YouTube channel, History Buffs, where they show how history and how inaccurate it is. But I don't care. It's still an inspiring movie and a great a great movie. The ending gets me every time when I watch it, and I feel like, just inspired by the character of William Wallace from the movie.
Great soundtrack too. Great James Horner soundtrack on Braveheart. Jerry, you're number 2.
My number 2 is Face Off. No, I'm just kidding. No way, my number 2 would be that. My number 2, and it kind of goes back to what I was talking about with the Edward Living to Oblivion American movie thing, about really putting yourself into movies, really what creates great movies, in my opinion. And that's why I couldn't just pick one on this one. And I went with the Kevin Smith movies, Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, and Dogma. Each of these movies represents something. Clerks, you have the kind of you have potential, but you're kind of wasting it away. You're not really doing anything right now with your life. You're kind of slacking off. People telling you go back to school. That's something that I kind of felt for a little while in my life. And then Mallrats is basically the love of comics, having the pretty much Animal House plot thrown in with comics, and having a great Stan Lee line on that. Chasing Amy was about getting over insecurities and just accepting people for who they are. And then Dogma was pretty much finding your way, spiritually. And I'll just leave it at that. And they're all funny. They're all comedies too. So they all.
Jerry, you're a cheater.
You know what, LT?
I could overlook cheating once, but I mean, you're at a top 20 now at this point.
Yeah.
This is a top 20.
Plus, Dogma is really not as good as the other ones.
I mean, if you really want one, it would be Clerks or Chasing Amy.
James, I blame you.
A little bit too much.
Sorry. James, I blame you for Jerry's cheating, because you're only making it 10, and it's hard, for every decade only pick 10 movies.
Oh, because life is tough, then you can cheat? That's how people end up in prison.
To be fair.
It was hard choosing 10. Everyone should have to choose only 10, or they don't get to say.
Well, Jerry's just pulling a Kobayashi Maru here. He's pulling a Captain Kirk.
Exactly.
Can't break the rules, Jerry. You can't break the rules.
Y'all are all a bunch of Picards. I'm a Kirk. Or
anyway.
Janeway or something. I don't know.
Don Willie, you're number 2.
All right, so my number 2 has been mentioned on just about everyone's list already, and it was, the most, or one of the most influential sci-fi films of the late 90s, and had 2 absolutely fucking horrible sequels, and it's The Matrix, which I love. Take the red pill, goddamn it, and wake yourself up. No, but you know what? Matrix 2 wasn't as bad. Matrix 3 is what killed Matrix 2, which in turn almost killed Matrix 1. So, yeah, the first Matrix, awesome movie. You guys have said as much as there possibly can be said about it. So I'm just going to leave that there.
I honestly think what made the sequel so bad is how great the first movie was. I love the chase scene on Reloaded, and I don't like chase scenes.
All right, so we get to my number 2, and I'm kind of surprised this movie only been mentioned once. It's what I believe to be the best war film ever. I think it's better than your Apocalypse Nows, your Full Metal Jackets, your Platoons. I think it's better than those movies, and that is Saving Private Ryan. It is my personal favorite war film of all time. I think it's an epic. I think it's an epic, it has a lot of great Spielberg directing. I mean, that beach scene in the beginning, spoofed in Sausage Party, by the way, brilliantly, but that first scene was brilliant. Great characters. I empathize with the characters, except the coward. I forget the coward's name, but yeah, fuck that guy. And Tom Sizemore before he went crazy. He made a great asshole sergeant. And the end. I mean, who can forget the end? I mean, maybe a tear, maybe a tear fell down. I don't know when Tom, what happened to Tom Hanks. Maybe a tear jumped off the ledge. But yeah, and it also does have more, maybe kind of a personal connection for me because my grandfather was in World War II and almost died in World War II, which means I wouldn't have been born. So I have a connection to Saving Private Ryan. Which takes us to Tink, your number 2.
My number 2 is the same as LT's, and it's Braveheart. A movie that I absolutely love, even if it is historically inaccurate, and that sometimes drives me a little crazy, but I don't even care in this movie because it's so well done. Mel Gibson acts and directs before he went crazy and kind of went downhill. And it's just, the music. I love the music in this movie and the acting and the directing. And it's just, I think it's an absolutely fantastic, wonderful film. And if you haven't seen it, you really, really should.
The prisoner wishes to speak.
Great movie.
Freedom!
Freedom to make your list how you should want to make your list.
No. Well, no more cheating. From now on, damn it, I'm putting the foot down. No more cheating. And number 2.
My number 2 is David Fincher's Seven. That I think has only been mentioned so far by you, James. I'm so bad. I'm not paying attention to anything going on.
Yes, I put it at 7. 7 for 7.
So I hope I hope it's in your guys' list because that's a movie I like that I thought everyone liked, that is popular, and I like it, and that's not very often. So for the story, I saw that movie in theater, and I went to watch it on my own at night. I didn't really realize. To me, it was just like a cop story. So I went to watch it on my own at night. Plus, it's not a dangerous neighborhood, but it's that big movie theater. And then you sort of, when you leave it, you sort of walk through that like empty space to reach the subway. It's because it's like in the financial district of Paris. And so at night, there's no one. It's only like office buildings. And I was so creeped out. So I think it's the movie that scared me the most ever. Like I had a real jump scare, which never happens to me. Like I'm not a big fan of horror movies because either like the slashers movie, they just make me angry at the characters in the movie. They don't really scare me. Or the torture porn, I'm really not that much into it. It's like it doesn't really scare me. Like I don't even get the enjoyable pleasure of being scared when I watch it. It's just, but then it grosses me out, and then I get nightmares afterwards. So but yes, Seven is just a good movie. And when the guy from Sloth, is that how you say it, Sloth? Yeah.
Sloth.
Okay, thank you. Paris. Yeah. Okay. So your whole thing is dead. It's already pretty horrible. But then when he goes, and yeah, that has been copied a lot since too. But yeah, I
actually think that the torture porn aspects of it was very subdued. That's what I like that about that movie, that it actually didn't like show all the stuff happening like in Saw. I don't like Saw because of that. So I think there was some grotesque imagery, but I wouldn't say it was torture porn, I guess.
It's more of the after effects to let you know what happened.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't like, so I only saw the first one. It would have been a good movie if it had been a reclo, like just the story of the two guys in the room. That could have been good. But it's like it wasn't written well. Like all the other extra things to give you more background on the killer were actually pretty ridiculous. And I guess the later ones were mostly about the gruesome traps and not, there was no psychological tension.
But yeah, good choice. So yeah, we have done all of our top. We've done everything from 2 to 10. Which means it is honorable mentions time. Some of us will have honorable mentions, dishonorable mentions. Maybe we'll have underrated. We've broken it up differently, and we're going to start with Jerry on this go around.
All right, so I guess I'll go through my 11 through 20 real quick, and that's Office Space.
You're 20 through 30. You're 20 through 30.
Office Space, Goodfellas, Usual Suspects, Professional, Days of Confused, Aladdin, Fargo, The Sandlot, Groundhog Day, and The Big Lebowski. And I'll just give a shout out to the King of the Monsters, especially since I didn't do one in the 80s. I'll do two. Godzilla versus King Ghidorah and Godzilla versus Destroyer. And dishonorable, or no, actually, one thing I want to definitely needs honorable mention. That was the most influential movie from the 90s, and that is El Mariachi. And that influenced so many, not so much the movie, but how it was made. It was made on a $7,000 budget with basically, he had a turtle, guitar, and a bus. And he's like, I'm going to make a movie out of that with $7,000. And he basically wrote a book, and he also wrote an article about how he made the movie on that shoestring budget. And a lot of indie filmmakers, that inspired a lot of indie filmmakers to go on to make movies, thinking that they can based on just doing it with so little.
Could that budget compete for the lowest budget film of all time? I mean, like that?
For maybe a movie as successful as El Mariachi, yeah, probably.
Because that's a low budget. That's low budget.
Yeah, it was only like $7,000 is nothing in the movies. So, okay, and then for dishonorable mentions, we got to go with Street Fighter the movie, Super Mario Brothers the movie. Those were big pieces of shit. Waterworld, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. How about another rigging of a brand, Godzilla 1998 with Matthew Broderick? That was a big pile of crap. Of course, we all know one of the major big disappointments of that decade, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. Oh God, what was Lucas thinking? What was he thinking there?
List as well.
You know what? I'm gonna let Tink rank on that because I want to hear a Tink rant. But the worst fucking movie, the one that makes me just go, I can't even, and that is Highlander 2, The Quickening. It took an amazing movie and just shat all over it. Not only that, it shat all over the original, and it just made no fucking sense. It was stupid. Like, I'd have to do a review on how bad this fucking movie is.
Ramirez!
Yeah, somehow Sean Connery gets brought back to life because a guy gets electrocuted and says his name. That's so fucking stupid. Like, I can't even. I'd have to do a whole review about how bad this movie is. I just can't. Can't right now.
Well, there you go. Don Willie, honorable mentions, dishonorable mentions.
Well, before I get into this, real quick, I would just like to say, James, fuck you for making us make this list because, god damn it, you know how many dishonorable and honorable mentions and how hard it was to pick a top 10? Damn you, man. So you know what? I almost can't blame Jerry for cheating on this one, but I still blame Jerry for cheating. So honorable mentions. I'm gonna leave off a lot of the stuff that you guys put on your list because I don't want to be redundant. So I'm gonna go with House Party, Boys in the Hood, True Lies. Let's see here. Hook, Boomerang, Juice, A League of Their Own, South Central, White Man Can't Jump, CB4, Carlito's Way, Demolition Man, Falling Down, The Fugitive, Mrs. Doubtfire, Poetic Justice, Robin Hood Men in Tights, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Fresh, Interview with the Vampire, A Low Down Dirty Shame, Stargate, and if I keep on mentioning, we'll be here all day. That's honorable mentions. Dishonorable mentions, anything that Kevin Costner did at all in the 90s, Judge Dredd, Tales from the Hood, Vampire in Brooklyn, Kazam, Multiplicity, The Phantom, Space Jam, Anaconda, Batman and Robin, Double Team, Call the Conqueror, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Spawn, Steel, Dr. Dolittle, Godzilla, Inspector Gadget, and as much as I hate to say it, Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, The Wild Wild West, Mystery Men, Lake Placid, Message in a Bottle, Captain
Are you
America.
saying every movie in the 90s?
No.
I
These are just
have a
like the
question,
worst of the
Willie.
worst.
am glad you mentioned though A League of Their Own for your honorable ones. I really love that movie, and I think that's Tom Hanks' best performance, or it's my favorite Tom Hanks performance, and it has one of his great lines.
There's two that I absolutely must mention, because if I don't, I think I will be remiss, because no one else might even pick these up, and that is Hudson Hawk and Rocky V.
Come on, Hudson Hawk is like a good bad movie. Come on,
That movie is shit. That
it's
movie
bad, but it's entertaining.
Fuck that, man.
Okay,
No,
question.
no.
You
I'm
said
gonna
any
disagree with you
Kevin
on Hudson
Costner
Hawk.
movie from the 90s, so you
Yes.
don't like
Any.
Dance with Wolves?
Fuck
Or...
no.
Okay,
Fuck no.
okay.
I mean,
Okay,
I like Dances with Moves. I thought it was a good movie, but I wouldn't watch it again. And it really, the best part of that movie is like the end where he's like saying, "I'll always be your friend." Or that kind of touched me. But other than that, yeah, it was way too long.
Yeah, I'm curious because it's not like in my mind, it's not a movie that people really hate. So why do you hate Dance with Wolves?
Well, maybe I'll answer that question here in a second. I'll just leave it
Okay.
at that because we're getting to my list. My honorable mentions are Toy Story. I really struggled with that one. I really wanted to put it in my top 10. Groundhog's Day, Reservoir Dogs, Leon the Professional, Apollo 13, Braveheart, Schindler's List, 12 Monkeys, Office Space, Train Spotting, The Lion King, and an underrated comedy classic, in my opinion, Kingpin. Go watch Kingpin. I am a
Hold
bowler.
on, I thought Reservoir Dogs made your earlier list.
I know I didn't really cheat, but no, Reservoir Dogs is my honorable mention, and yeah, Kingpin, an underrated comedy that everyone should watch. Guilty Pleasures, Demolition Man, the first two Austin Powers, Mars Attacks, Armageddon,
Watch
Blade.
that's good.
I don't know, it's a guilty pleasure in my mind, but Con Air, Face Off. He takes his face off.
So bad, but so fun.
Broken Arrow, Billy Madison, Basketball, and The Mummy. Those are guilty pleasure movies.
Not bad. I like the movie.
Overrated. These are the ones that might ruffle some feathers here. These are my overrated films. Dances with Wolves, I think, is
Yes.
a long, boring,
No,
drawn out movie.
overrated, okay, but why hate? Like,
I don't hate it. No, I don't hate it.
I agree. It's overrated. That's
Oh,
true.
no. Understand. Look, when I say anything that Kevin Costner made, it's because Kevin Costner. Because
okay, so he's
fuck
like
Kevin
your
Costner through the 90s.
okay, so he's like my Daniel Day-Lewis. You just
Like, no.
Let's
See,
not compare Kevin
you
Costner
think-
to Daniel Day-Lewis.
yeah, you think
It's
Kevin
fucking
Costner?
crazy.
I mean, like, no, you think Daniel Day-Lewis is overrated. I can't stand Kevin Costner as an actor for that entire period. For that entire 10 years, I didn't like anything that Kevin Costner was in, period.
Yeah.
Plus, he eventually told Superman not to be Superman later.
And essentially, in this overrated list, these are movies that I think are bad. These are just movies that I think are
No
overrated.
reaction fatigue.
And Dances with Wolves is one of them. I think it's long, drawn out, and I don't think it's very it's okay. Like, I watched it once, it's okay. Now this one might ruffle some feathers because it was high on your guys' list. I think The Matrix is overrated because I don't think that it is a transcendent, like, top 10 movie of all time that it's made out to be. I think it's okay action movie, and I think it gets a little heavy-handed with sort of its philosophy. I think it's a little heavy-handed and a little pretentious, maybe. It just didn't connect for me. Like, it's cool action, but it's overrated in my opinion. Same with this next one. Let me make sure, because no one has mentioned it yet. Maybe you'll have it number one. Yeah, it's 90s, 1999 drama film, and that's Fight Club. I think Fight Club is overrated. I don't know, maybe it's on one of your guys' number one.
It's in my overrated list as well.
Yeah.
I think it's great, but I think it's also overrated at the same time. Like, I don't think it belongs on a top 20 list, but I do really like it a lot.
Yeah, like, I think it's a good movie, and I watched it, but, people put it on this pedestal like that it is a top 5 movie of all time. I just don't think that's the case.
That
Like
it's so
that.
real, that it's so, I'm like, whoa. That's real,
Yeah, I mean-
that you need to grow up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good movie, though. It's a good movie, but it's just not at that echelon. And then, of course, I think now, let me make sure this might be 2000, but let's see here. Nope, 1999, and I think it is the most. Actually, this might have been on my bad list because I think this is the most pretentious film of all time, and that is American Beauty. I
agree there. I agree.
Yeah,
Actually, it's yeah.
In fact, I don't even really like that movie, to be honest. I kind of wanted to punch that guy with his bag.
Agreed. James, agreed.
so I'll just leave it at that.
My
Maybe if you guys.
honorable mentions.
Yeah, it just doesn't. I mean, it just doesn't.
What?
I think it's pretentious. But now I know this is kind of overdrawn, but I do have some dishonorable. These are the movies that aren't overrated. These are just the complete piss boxes, the fart boxes, as they say. And that would be Mr. Nanny, Super Mario Bros., Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Biodome, RoboCop 2 and 3. RoboCop 3 might be the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. It's up there. There's like smiling robot ninjas. That
It's not as bad as The Quickening.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's Pat. I don't know if you guys remember It's Pat, but
I remember It's Pat was funny on Saturday Night Live, but the movie, oh my god.
Oh, there's a movie?
yeah, it was terrible. Kazam, Air Bud. I mean, who lets a dog play basketball? I don't know. But anyway, Waterworld, Judge Dredd, Steel, Godzilla, Street Fighter, and this movie is the reason why Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles never did it for me, because my first ever exposure, I was born in 1987, so my first ever exposure to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ended up being Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. So when people are like, they're like, why didn't Teenage Mutant Turtles hit for you? It's like, because my first ever movie I ever watched was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. I never wanted to see anything about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles again. So anyway, there's my little soapbox.
Although Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 was more of a more if you liked Ninja Turtles and you watched it, then it invoked rage. I can't imagine someone who's never seen anything to be like, whatever.
I just thought it was goofy. I just thought it was super goofy, and it just didn't do it for me. But yeah, that's my list. Tink, your honorable mentions and overrateds.
Well, I don't actually have that many because I decided to kind of limit myself. I didn't really want it to be like a huge, enormous list, but
just rant about Phantom Menace, please.
Honorable mentions: Forrest Gump, The Piano, Mulan, Groundhog Day, Home Alone, 10 Things I Hate About You, Independence Day, Mrs. Doubtfire, Jumanji, Aladdin. Then in dishonorable mentions, I have overrated. One is Fight Club, American Beauty. This is going to piss off some people, but 7. I'm sorry, but I think it was pretentious, overthought, and just, it did not do it for me. Another one that's going to piss off people, but The Big Lebowski. I think it's ridiculous. It didn't do it for me at all, and I think that it's just way too high in a lot of people's lists. I know Don Willie, I know, but it's just I've never gotten The Big Lebowski at all.
Don Willie's going Fred Sanford there. He's grabbing his heart.
Yes, and then the ones that are like just outright crap. I haven't mentioned a lot of the really, really crappy ones, mainly because I've completely forgotten them out of my mind. They were just like bad, so I just like forgot about them. These are the ones that like get to me. One is The Godfather 3, and it's because it was a major disappointment. After coming out for the second Godfather, I was expecting a masterpiece, and I got The Godfather 3. And no, maybe it's just the difference in between how good that one was and how not good the third one was, but I was just, wow. Waterworld, Batman and Robin was just absolutely dreadful. The Blair Witch Project, that was like super hyped, and it's terrible.
Mm-mm.
It's terrible.
I agree with you there. Blair Witch was way overrated.
And then the worst movie to come out of the 90s, an insult to so many people, a destruction to a fantastic legacy, The Phantom Menace. And the worst thing is that it's not even the worst of the 3 movies. It's actually the least insulting. And it's because Anakin Skywalker had not been cast yet in this adult, like who was the actor? Hayden Christensen was the worst Anakin Skywalker that has existed, that could have been, that there was monstrosity. So at least we have the kid who at least kind of does a decent part. Qui-Gon was not bad. but it's bad. The CGI, Jar Jar Binks killed the spirit, all of the CGI fake, the storyline that make no. The only thing that is worth salvaging about that movie is the soundtrack, and it's because it's the same guy and he's a genius. Everything else was absolutely bullshit. Everything just it has no name. It's just it was the biggest disappointment to an entire generation of people. It was the downfall of George Lucas. And it's the perfect example of what happens when someone's ego goes to the stratosphere and no one controls them. This is the perfect example. And it was just horrible, terrible. It was bad in every single sense. It was bad because it was disappointment, bad because the previous ones have been great, and 3, because it was just bad in every single sense.
The movie also
I don't know if it was his ego that had it. It's more of it's like he lost all his support that he had, and he was doing it pretty much on his own.
No. The first one, yeah, everyone let him do whatever he wanted. Everyone thought that he was a genius. It was after the first one that people realized the crap that he done, that he lost all support.
No,
He was
I mean,
surrounded by
he lost all support. Like in the original ones, he had his wife, who was a great writer. He used to live next to Francis Ford Coppola, Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, and they used to exchange scripts all the time and stuff like that. When he did this, he had no one. Like, they were all busy. By then, everyone had all grown up and spread out.
Well, everyone was also scared to tell him no, though. Like, he was surrounded himself by yes men.
Yeah.
That too, but I think it was more, he had no friends to help him, which he needed, and which he had in the original.
Also, that kid, Jake Lloyd, who played young Anakin, like, his life was ruined after that movie. Like, he's been in jail like 4 times, and he's like strung out and shit. Like, that movie ruined him.
So basically, he's become Darth Vader evil.
Yeah, he's actually like, yeah, maybe he's.
I mean, let's be honest. This movie didn't even need to exist. Like, if you take it out, you're not missing anything. And I don't know about y'all. I think, were y'all all disappointed coming out of the theater? Because I know a lot of people weren't. A lot of people loved it, like, when they came out of the theater. And it took them a while to figure out that this movie was crap. I mean, LT still hasn't figured it out, I don't think. But
Wait, I was talking to somebody who I ran into. What were you talking about?
The Phantom Menace.
You know what? I would never say Phantom Menace is a great movie, but I was just happy to get Star Wars. So, I mean, you know, there's aspects of it that are horrible. I'll be honest, but I would say I still was happy to get Star Wars, and I'd still say I like it. I wouldn't say I hate it, but I would never say it's a great movie.
There you go.
Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon, I liked the casting.
But he was unnecessary. You like him, but he's not even necessary. Like, he's pointless. Like, if you
The
think about it.
freaking the music when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are fighting Darth Maul, that music is fucking insane, man.
It was the only good thing about the movie. It's called Duel of the Fates, and it's the best thing of the movie.
Agreed. But I think we can move on.
Yeah, let's forget about the Phantom Menace and talk about Anne's honorable mentions.
Really? Wow, my God. You know how tough it is to go after a Tinker's rant? Like, okay.
Oh, thank you for the rant, Tinker. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Made everyone happy. But, okay, stop. Okay, my honorable mention. So there was American Beauty that, you know, I've not really, some of those I've not seen them since the 90s. So maybe I would hate it rewatching it. But I loved, when I watched it in 99, I loved the stupid plastic bag thing. So then maybe I can name another movie with Kevin Spacey, which was Swimming with Sharks by George Wong. I hope I'm not butchering the filmmaker's name. Then, Gustav, I had a hard time choosing between Jim Jarmusch's 19 movies from the 90s, so I just put Night on Earth, which is a bunch of stories of a bunch of people filmed within a taxi cab. Peter Jackson's Heavenly Creatures, Tim Burton's Mars Attack, which could be my favorite Tim Burton for some reason. Gus Van Sant's My Own Private Idaho, Ringu, Hideo Nakata, Ruby in Paradise by Victor Nunez, The Ice Storm by Ang Lee, and The Naked Lunch by David Cronenberg. So if you've seen any of those movies, except for American Beauty, which is pretty well known, please let me know that I'm not totally alone. Okay, another one, but I really mean the TV show, would be Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, which I love. I know it's not a good movie, but I think I love it as part of the TV show, which is amazing.
I was going to be my guest for your number one.
No, it's not. I mean, it's my honorable mention because I have to admit that it's not such a great movie on its own. Guilty pleasures. Okay, I have to mention because I've told you I really liked it. Alien 3. One that I'm surprised that Tinker has not mentioned anywhere, which I thought you would have loved. It's Babe. Have you never seen Babe? The story of the little piglet.
Oh, I thought you said
amazingly
Babe, not
cute.
the Babe.
I completely forgot about Babe.
Baby's so cute.
I know, I loved it.
Okay.
That'll do,
God,
Pig.
That'll do, Pig.
That'll do.
That'll do. Oh, damn it,
It's
James.
really, really cute. Okay.
Oh, that would be in my honorable mentions.
I know, I thought it would be. Okay, another one that is a guilty pleasure, because I think most of you won't like it. It's actually, I think except for the big classic one from the 70s, I think it's my recent favorite Woody Allen movie. Maybe not, I would have to rethink them, but it's Everyone Says I Love You, which is a musical. And I saw it in theater. I haven't rewatched it since, but I really liked it when I watched it. Groundhog Day, which is, I don't know, I mean, could have been an honorable mention. You know, it's just a really, really great comedy, and it's one that you can it's a real feel-good movie, so you can watch it over and over again. Then all of the Kenneth Branagh's timepieces, really, but I wrote down Much Ado About Nothing, but I liked all of his Shakespearean readaptation. And one that, I think I've already discussed that with my Habs Watch buddies, but some of you might be surprised, but I really find hilarious is Wayne's World. I just love that movie, and I've watched it over and over again when I was a teenager.
Wayne's World's great.
So overrated movie, I don't have a lot on the bad movie list, but for Jerry, I had to put Forrest Gump. Although it's just, it's too mad to be even overrated. But one that I think is really overrated because, man, was that a boring movie, was Titanic. I mean, they could have cut half of that movie. I think the CG, I really love the Titanic part. The boat sinking was filmed wonderfully, but God, who cares about that stupid love story? I don't. Old Rose, 30 extra minutes at the end. I was like, when will that movie ever stop? So yes, make that a Titanic sinking movie. Cut 1 hour off.
I have one question for you, Anne, since you're French. Is that how they really are drawn?
And then last, I don't have, it's one movie that is a movie I hate, but I've not watched, but I hate it on principle, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. I've already mentioned it in the comments last week, which is, what's in English? Life is Beautiful. 1997 by Roberto Benigni. So, I hate Roberto Benigni probably more than I hate Daniel Day-Lewis, or equally. It's just again, so hysterical is not the word, but someone who's all the time, and so unbearable for me to watch. So anyway, I don't really care for any of his movies, but he's usually in comedies, so it's okay, it works. But there, I just on principle, the idea of that story and made by Benigni just irks me so much that I just
and the Oscar win.
Yeah, and he had the Palme d'Or at Cannes too. But no, I just no.
Well, fun fact, the Titanic sunk on my birthday, April 15th. That's when the Titanic sunk. That's also when Lincoln got shot too. So, and the day I was born. So, I don't know what that means for me. But also, I did forget, I did have Titanic on my overrated list. I just wanted to mention it real quick because I accidentally skipped over it. But me and my dad and my brother went to watch it, and we thought we were getting like a disaster thriller, and that's not what we got. So, yeah, Titanic is also on my overrated list. But that takes us to
what
Sir
about
LT
those
John.
fucking dumbass band guys who just play the song when the thing ship sinking?
LT, you have any honorable mentions?
Yes, I do, and Titanic is on my honorable mentions. The Matrix, Pulp Fiction, Goodfellas, Terminator 2, Silence of the Lamb, Friday, New Jack City, Meteor Man, Forrest Gump, Seven, The Lion King, Saving Private Ryan, Home Alone, Total Recall, Unforgiven, Boys in the Hood, Ghost, Jacob's Ladder, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and American History X. My dishonorable mentions. Yes, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. I love the first two. I was so disappointed with that piece of crap. Dog shit of a movie. Super Mario Brothers. How could you just fuck up a great game like that? I wish it never existed. Now, a video game that I loved, Double Dragon. They made a movie. It was fucking horrible. I don't know what they were doing. That's it. That's my dishonorable mentions.
Street Fighter with Jean-Claude Van Damme didn't make it. You know, the who wants to go home and who wants to go with me?
It was fun. It was a fun movie. It was horrible, but it was fun.
It does have one of the greatest lines ever from Raul Julia when he says, you know, for
Of
you.
course.
No, it was what he say? He said, for you it was the day that I destroyed your family and everything, but for me it was just Tuesday. I mean, that was the best Raul Julia line from that movie. Anyway, we're at our number one, which means here, of course, we're gonna have each person, you know, right before they reveal it, they're gonna recap their 10 through 2, and we're gonna try and guess their number one. So Don Willie, kick us off.
I actually was not expecting to go first here. All right, so 10 through 2. Number 10, Saving Private Ryan. Number 9, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Number 8, Tombstone. Number 7, New Jack City. Number 6, The Silence of the Lambs. Number 5, Menace to Society. Number 4, Goodfellas. Number 3, Malcolm X. Number 2, The Matrix. So, with all of that said, can you guess my number one?
All right, so I'm the one that goes right after you. So I am going to guess Don Willie's number one as The Shawshank Redemption. Tink.
I absolutely suck at guessing, so I have absolutely no idea.
I bet I'll guess Tinks, but
Ann.
Actually, I forgot to mention Total Recall, which is a great movie. But no, I don't think that would be Don Willie's first. Okay, yeah, let's try Total Recall.
LT.
I'm gonna go with the movie I forgot to mention on my honorable mentions. Point Break. No, I'm just kidding. This Don Willie's Shawshank Redemption.
Jerry.
The Nutty Professor. No, Shawshank.
Don Willie.
Well, I hate to disappoint you guys. I
love the Nutty Professor.
I love Shawshank Redemption. It was a great movie, but actually, my number one is Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. I went to go see that in the movies. That was the first Tarantino movie I actually saw, and it made me rethink the way that I watched movies, and also it made me want to look for directors who were unconventional. So yeah, number one for me, Pulp Fiction.
Way to go. I forgot you didn't have it on your list. Yeah, I should have guessed it. Anyway, my 10 through 2, to recap, was number 10, Jackie Brown. Number 9, The Big Lebowski. 8, Fargo. 7, 6, LA Confidential. 5, Jurassic Park. 4, Goodfellas. 3, Pulp Fiction. 2, Saving Private Ryan. Tink, can you guess my number one?
Terminator 2?
Okay. Ann?
Shawshank Redemption.
LT?
Did you have Shawshank Redemption on your honorable mentions?
No.
All right, Shawshank Redemption.
Jerry?
Maybe we should mention our
Shawshank
honorable
Redemption
mentions as well.
Yeah,
I
but
have
then
two.
it's
Take too long.
Don Willie.
I hate to be a populist here, but yeah, Shawshank.
Shawshank, you guys got it right. Shawshank was indeed my number one. I think it's the best movie of the 90s. You have so many things in there. You have drama. You have emotions that you can evoke. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When Brooks hangs himself, sorry for the spoilers, but you should have seen Shawshank already. Damn it! But when Brooks hangs himself because he can't conform to society, because we see what happens when someone is locked up and institutionalized for too long, and we see what happens to Brooks. And maybe a tear or two maybe fell down the cheeks, just keeping it real. And to me, it's just an epic movie. I mean, Andy Dufresne in the rainstorm, hitting the stone on the ground hitting on the pipe at the same time with the lightning and the thunder. Him, the iconic image of him standing in the rain, and then of course Red getting out and getting the money and heading to Mexico and meeting Andy Dufresne. It's just, to me, it's just a perfect movie that runs the gamut of emotion. You have despair, and then you have triumph. And to me, it's just one of the greatest movies ever. So there you go.
Hey, James, can I ask you a question? When Red finds the money, why does he look both ways like somebody's out there? There's nobody for miles.
It's probably just, it's just him being a criminal. It's instinct, You got like those guys, like when a guy is in prison for a long time, when they first get home, when they eat, they still eat with their arms covering their food, because that's the way that they just got, into the rhythm. So I love Shawshank. Anyway, Tink.
Just to say, I found the podcast that I always mention, the movie podcast that I like a lot, Super Cine Battle. They don't really like Shawshank Redemption, so I guess they're a bunch of haters. It's number 90. They have right now 111 movies for the 90s, and it's only number 90.
Well, I mean, to each his own. To each his own. Which brings us to Tink. You're 10 through 2.
Okay, I think mine is a bit obvious which one's gonna be, but let's do 10 to 2 or 2 to 10.
10 to 2.
Okay. Pulp Fiction, Silence of the Lamb, Good Will Hunting, Schindler's List, The Last of the Mohicans, Jurassic Park, Lion King, The Matrix, Braveheart.
All right, Anne, your first guess.
Beauty and the Beast.
LT, your next guess.
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast.
Jerry, you're the next guess.
I didn't even need to listen to her 2 to the 10. It's Beauty and the Beast easily.
Don Willie?
Clean sweep.
Yeah, I was going to guess Beauty and the Beast. Tink, let us know.
Guest, be our guest. Put our service to the test. Tie your napkin round your neck, Sherry, and we provide the rest. Soup du jour, hot hors d'oeuvre.
Beauty and the Beast. I thought that was pretty obvious, and well, Sweet I think had already guessed it for some time. So yes. Hey, I'm curious. If Sweet hadn't said that one first, would you guys have said that one as well?
Oh yeah, I guessed it before this thing even started.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that in your live. No, but you mentioned that in your live Q&A.
And then when you did the reaction to the live action Beauty and the Beast, and you talked about how much you loved the original, yeah.
Because we watch your videos, Tink.
Yes.
So yes, we all guessed it. All right. Which leads us to maybe the most hardest to predict. Anne.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you'll love it. I don't want to be a downer, but I don't think you'll have my number one movie. Okay, my top 10. Sue, The Piano, Arizona Dream, Pulp Fiction, The Big Lebowski, The Lion King, The Matrix, 12 Monkeys, 7.
All right, LT, you're the first one to get a crack at it.
I'm gonna go with Major League 2.
I give that one about a 0.
A movie that I've seen.
I'm gonna give that one a 0% probability. Jerry.
I don't know. I thought it was gonna be Twin Peaks, but I don't know. Maybe La Femme Nikita. I don't know.
Okay.
Leon the Professional.
I do not like Luc Besson.
Okay, Leon the Professional.
which is still a movie by Luc Besson that I still
Man, I don't know.
like. I mean, I don't hate him, but I'm just not a fan.
I forgot you were a hater.
No, I don't hate him. I'm not a huge fan.
Well,
But if I had
I
to
don't
pick,
know,
like my favorite movie from him is probably Le Grand Bleu, which is what in English?
not The Fifth Element.
No, the Big Blue. Okay, easy.
All right. Well, I don't think Jerry had much of a guess. Don Willie.
Hold on. I am going to go with No. I was going to say the Silence of the Lambs, but I'm like, no, that's definitely wrong.
No, it has not been mentioned in anybody's list at all.
Oh shit! Then I give up. Oh, I give up.
Okay. Well, I went to David Lynch's filmography, looked in the 90s, and I'm going to say Wild at Heart, which
Okay.
leaves Tink.
I have absolutely no idea, so I'm gonna go with whatever. A movie that I like, but it's not in anyone's list, so I'm gonna say Clueless.
Oh, it was. I started.
Clueless is good.
Yeah, Clueless is not bad. I said like the three. It was kind of my extra list that I started with.
She just said you didn't say that you liked it. You just said that it represents the 90s.
Yeah, no, I like those three movies. I like them. Okay, no, it's you did not guess it. My favorite movie of the 90s is Nicolas Cage's best movie ever. It could have
Con
been
Air.
hard. It has Nicolas Cage in common. It's the 1995 Mike Figgis movie, Leaving Las Vegas, which is again not a fun movie. It's such a fucking tearjerker, but I still think that's suicider.
Never would have guessed.
No, the story of
No.
Nicolas Cage, who's
I would
a
never
Hollywood
guess that.
screenwriter who lost everything because of his alcoholism. He arrives in Las Vegas to drink himself to death. There he meets and forms an uneasy friendship with a prostitute, Sarah, played by Elizabeth Shue, which was a good actress and sort of disappeared. So yeah, I love Mike Figgis. And then I'm like, what? It's one of those directors that you don't understand the trajectory. They have like this amazing movie, and then like Time Code, or what other really bad things has he done? Like then a bunch of really not interesting things. Oh yeah, he made a remake. Is he the one who made a remake of Psycho? I can't remember. But
Well, they should lose all credibility right there for that remake of Psycho.
But anyway, no, I mean, like Leaving Las Vegas. So has any one of you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
What do you think, Jerry?
It was okay, and I wouldn't put it on any list. So
No, but okay, it wasn't. But I would.
I wouldn't put it on a bad list either. But
Well, and for the 2000s, I'm already guessing Mulholland Drive. So I'm going to put that out there. I'm already guessing Mulholland Drive for 2000s list.
Okay, I probably won't be my favorite. And actually, I mean, unless I pull Jerry and put them both together, I think I kind of prefer Lost Highway for a weird reason to Mulholland Drive. But
Oh, well, I remember that.
But they'll be on my list. I don't think they'll be number one.
Which leaves us with Sir L.T. Giles. Recap your list, sir.
Okay. My number 10 is Lionheart. My number 9 was Major Payne. My number 8 was Young Gun 2. My number 7 was Tombstone. Number 6, Shawshank Redemption. Number 5, The Five Heartbeats. Number 4, The Professional. Number 3, A Bronx Tale. And number 2, Braveheart. Could you guys guess my number 1?
Jerry, what's his number 1?
The Quest. No, I'm gonna go with. And I had it on my Terminator 2.
Don Willie. Can you guess LT's number 1?
Oh, or Total Recall. That's another one he might.
No, he just said it. That's his honorable mention. I would have guessed that otherwise.
Man, all right. So this, you know what? Yeah. See, this is another hard one to figure out because LT is a hard one to figure out too, man.
Waterworld.
Nah, whatever. You know what? You didn't say Braveheart, did you?
He
Yeah,
did.
he did.
Number 2.
Yeah, that was my number 2.
Okay. Shit, man. Fuck. Then I'll say
The Postman.
no. I'll say Fight Club.
Just throwing it out there, I think Fight Club is overrated. I should have said that, but I did.
Shit. Oh well. Here goes my pick.
I don't know. Do you say in your honorable mentions, LT, The Crow? I'll say The Crow, I guess.
I forgot to mention The Crow. I love The Crow. I'm not going to say if that's it or not, though.
Well, it sounds like it's not, but LT.
I can't imagine anyone here putting The Crow higher than me, and I put it at 3. So
I was going to say Bloodsport, but that's 88. So, but yeah, Tank, go
The
ahead.
Quest.
Jerry, you said Terminator 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with that one.
Then Ann.
I'm thinking. Is LT, did you say Saving Private Ryan?
I put that on my honorable mentions. I'll give you a clue, and Don Willie can't guess anymore. It was on Don Willie's list.
Malcolm X.
Yes. To me, I think you could argue that this is one of the best performances by any actor in any movie. This man stood for what he believed in. Do I agree with his beliefs? No. But I think he was a great man. I think he had a lot of conviction. I think if he wouldn't have suffered an unfortunate death, I think he would have brought a lot of people together. And this movie is just great. I've seen it numerous times. It's my favorite movie of the 1990s.
Hold on. Malcolm X is your favorite movie of the 1990s?
Yes.
Holy shit, mind blown.
Well,
Wow.
as soon as he said it was on your list, I
Yeah.
knew it was Malcolm X because I remember LT talking about how great Denzel Washington's performance was in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
LT, you're the man. You are the man. I salute you, sir.
All right, that leaves one person left that we have to guess for, and that is Jerry. Recap your list, sir.
All right. Recapping my list is number 10, Army of Darkness. Number 9, The Matrix. Number 8, Forrest Gump. Number 7, Silence of the Lambs. Number 6, Jurassic Park. Number 5, the Filmmakers movies. Number 4, the two first Tarantino movies. Number 3, The Crow. Number 2, the Kevin Smith movies.
Don Willie, you get first guess.
Okay. Wow, Jerry. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna. Motherfucker. You know what? I'm gonna say. Shit. You know what? I had Shawshank Redemption. Fuck it.
Yeah, my guess was going to be I don't remember if it was on his honorable mentions list, but I believe Jerry holds the Shawshank Redemption as high as esteem as I do, so I'm going to say Shawshank.
Gonna say the same.
And
Okay, I'm gonna pull Jerry and guess 2. Either The Blade or one that no one mentioned, and I'm pretty surprised, Truman Show.
LT.
I'm going to go with the great movie, The First Night. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to go with Shawshank.
All right, Jerry, reveal it.
My number 1 is actually a 5-way tie between The Mighty Ducks, Little Big League, Angels in the Outfield. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, it is Shawshank Redemption. This movie is just, I mean, everything James said, plus it's just a fantastic movie about, like, regret and, like, you know, when shit sometimes just doesn't go, you know, sometimes you just get shit on, like, you roll the bad dice, you get the, how do I say this? You land on the wrong side of the die when you roll the dice of life. So and sometimes you get shit happen to you, but no matter how dire situations are, there's always going to be a little bit of hope somewhere in that. You can either decide, even if it's sometimes really hard to achieve. You can either approach it 2 ways. You can either get busy living and get busy dying. And sometimes get busy living means having to bust out of a giant wall. So that's why I love the Shawshank Redemption and #1 video. In fact, it's my #2 all time.
So yeah, very interesting list for sure. I do have, I might even actually post it in the description box. I do have everybody's list. I might just kind of like put them all on the description box so you can see, and then maybe I'll do something like some sort of thing where I see how much we had in common or whatnot.
That would be great.
So I got to speak to about Ricky Hunt in the comments. I think actually Misery would be more of a Tink thing, because I have a feeling that she wants to pull a Misery with George R.R. Martin and be like, bring back the Starks, fix it.
Oh,
Show Ramsey Bolton.
Again, I'm surprised no one mentioned Truman Show. Have you forgot about it?
No,
I didn't forget about it. I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was that great.
Yeah, I like the
I'm
Truman
not a
Show.
huge fan of that movie.
Yeah.
I did forget one. It's because I thought it came out on the 2000, not in the 90s, and it's Princess Mononoke.
No, that was like 99, right?
Yeah,
It's
That's
97 actually,
90s.
but I thought it was 2000, so it was not on my list.
because it came
Spirited
out-
Away. Spirited Away was 99 actually. Now that I think about it,
No, I like
maybe
maybe
not.
I do like the Truman Show. I actually like that better than the other lauded Jim
Oh no, it's
Carrey.
2002, 2001. Oh yeah,
Well, I was gonna say I like the Truman Show better than the other Jim Carrey dramatic performance gets lauded, which is Eternal Sunshine. I would rather watch Truman Show over Eternal Sunshine.
what?
I like
I'm
Eternal
not a-
much
I
better.
love Eternal Sunshine.
Well, I guess we can have that.
I thought you were gonna say you like the Truman Show better than Ed TV.
No, I think Eternal Sunshine is a little. I don't know. Maybe I have to rewatch it again. I mean, I did watch it the
think we
first
do.
time when I was 17, but I don't know. I thought it was a
Yeah,
little
Just
pretentious. But
breaking news. You mean, Jerry, you liked the movie by a French director? A lot?
Oh yeah, when he
A
acts
French
normal.
person?
Mhm.
Okay.
well, anyway, we can save that for the 2000s list. That'll be next time. So yeah,
Anybody
guys.
like?
Or go ahead.
None of you
Go ahead,
guys like the movie Hook? I forgot to put in my honorable
love
mentions. Do you
Hook.
guys like the movie Hook? Yeah.
Love Hook. Who doesn't love Hook?
I believe Don Willie had it in his honorable mentions, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he had a lot of honorable mentions. I forgot.
There were a lot of good movies in the 90s. Like I said, it was very hard to actually to do that list. So
Yeah. All right, guys. So yeah, we're ending it here. Hopefully, you guys will join us back for the 2000s list. I'm glad that you guys were all here in the comments and active, or in the chat room and active, and hope to see you again next time. So we're gonna go down the list and do our usual thing, and we'll start with Tink.
Anyways, thank God this ending because I'm like fading. I'm so tired. But it was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me here, James. I really enjoyed it. And it's been interesting seeing how different and how similar in some points our lists are. So and thank you everyone that was in the chat and was seeing this live and talking and enjoying. Bye-bye.
And
I'm ready for the 2000s.
yes, 2000s. 2000s is pretty good too. There's a lot of good movies in 2000s. LT.
It's always fun being on Jimmy B's channel. Big game, James Michelle. No, thank you for inviting me, and it was awesome.
Jerry.
Yeah, well, now that we got the 90s out of the way, on to the 2000s. And I think you guys will be very surprised about my 2000s list. Very surprised. And yeah, I was glad to be a part here. Glad Tink was here because we got to hear a Tink rant on The Phantom Menace, which is always good. That's all
Wait
I'm
until the 2000s.
Well, I expect 2 rants then.
Yeah, I think, well, I'm going to be ranting on that too. I mean, come on, Attack of the Clones, Sand. I mean, come on. Anyway, Don Willie.
You underestimate my rant power.
oh my God. Anyway, yeah, James, thanks again as always for having me. Real quickly, I'm going to be reorganizing my channel. So for those of you who follow me on, who subscribe to me here on YouTube, check me out on Twitter at iDonWillie, and you will get to vote on the new name of my channel once I relaunch it. So yeah, go ahead and go do that.
Do it. All right. So yes, I'm happy that everyone.
Right now.
I'm happy that everyone who joined me on this adventure as we count down the decades, and of course we're doing the 2000s next. Hopefully we can get that scheduled sometime soon. Also, we've been in the preliminary talks, if you're a video game fan, of doing a top 10 video games of all time list, which will be very subjective and hard. And also I wanted to say to Renee M, we're actually not going to be doing a flash video this Monday due to some scheduling issues. And we'll probably do a double episode next Monday night. So, yeah. Anyway, also be keeping on the eye out for the Hypes Watch. We should be able to live stream again here within the next 3 weeks. So keep your eyes out for that. And if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, share it and subscribe, or share it on social media and hit subscribe. Until next time, adios.